What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Hope you're having a great time locked down and virus lockup. Like, have been for the last fucking month, but yeah. Last week got a little crazy schedule wise. I was staying up way early into the morning because I got hooked on learning how to build bass guitars for the reason that most bass guitars are a 34-inch scale length, which means that's how long from the nut up by where the tuning pegs are, the little thing that the strings break over the end of the neck with towards the headstock is the nut, on down to the bridge where the strings hit their saddles. That length from the nut to the saddles on the bridge is the scale length of an instrument. So, and this bass guitar here, it's a 34-inch scale, so this is the nut. That thing down here, it's black, probably hard to see. Then these are the saddles on the bridge. So from that point to that point is 34 inches, and it makes for an enormous instrument. If you've ever picked up a bass guitar, you'd know that they are enormous, and for certain people, like I'm 6 foot, so it ain't that bad, but I have short fingers. So sort of reaching all the way down, especially if you're sitting down, it's easy to play anything. But if you're standing up, it's quite a reach to get that left arm all the way down there. So I started looking into shorter scale basses. And if you don't want a 34-inch, you can pretty easily get a 30-inch scale, but now it looks like you're playing a child's guitar, and they just look weird. It just doesn't, a 30-inch scale bass just does not look right. So I'm like, why the fuck doesn't anyone make 32-inch scale basses? So there's a few, like just little companies that make them once in a while. I know Ibanez makes a super cheap, it's like $300. 32-inch scale bass, so I figure I'm gonna fucking make my own. So we'll see what happens. What is this message that popped up here? Why am I not doing enough sewing? Whatever. Not a good enough thing to get a good stream. So much for being hardwired. So see if that makes any fucking difference. Try something like that. And see if this is gonna fucking work. Yeah, there it is. So that is gonna be, we'll see if I can whip one of these motherfuckers together. You can see it's like this neck through design. So if you see the different stripes of wood going down the middle, that whole thing is the entire neck of it, all the way from the top where the tuning pegs are, all the way down to the very bottom. That is one chunk of wood. Well, it's several plies of wood glued together, but basically there's no body and no neck. It's just one whole thing. And then the black parts of the body are called the wings. Those are two separate pieces that are glued on. It's all glued together, and honestly, wood glue is, that bond is stronger than the actual wood itself. So if anything, you're sort of making an even stronger guitar by like you're just laminating numerous pieces of wood together, as this guitar has been. You can see it's a neck through design. Whole thing is one huge piece. So all the way from down here, all the way through is one continuous piece of wood. And you can see it's multiple plies. It's like 7 different, 4, 5, 6, yep, 7 different layers of wood glued together and then just carved out. into the shape. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do here. Building that guitar that I have designed, 32-inch scale. So hopefully be a little lighter, a little easier to play standing up. That'll be a nice thing. A guitar is relatively easy because it's so short. That's like a 24.75 for Fenders. I don't know. One of them, Gibson, maybe is a shorter scale. One of them's like 25 and a half. One of them's 24 3/4. Some shit. Now you could get like baritone guitars that are longer, like 28-inch scale, and just weird shit like that. But yeah, when it comes to bass guitars, there's not very many 32-inch scale models to choose from. So I'm gonna attempt to make my own. Seems like I only need probably like a bandsaw, a router, like shitloads of like files and rasps and sanding blocks and shit like that. But been spending days and days and days just studying on how do you fucking make these things, and it seems relatively easy. Like I just make a fucking like a jig, like a fucking preform or whatever out of MDF board. So just print this fucking guitar out life size. I got a printer that can print 13 inches wide, so that's no problem making a full size guitar mock up. And I have 19-inch long paper, so I can just like print the width of the paper. Trace the motherfucker out onto that MDF board, and this would probably be one of your second most time-consuming processes, making that actual form for it. So just print out the fucking design I made, trace it onto MDF board, then you cut that MDF board to the exact dimensions of the guitar, like on a 2-dimensional like length and width. So you got that MDF fucking jig thing to fucking follow. It's a preform. So you got your whole slab of the wood and everything is all glued together, all sanded and finished off nice. You probably like put it through a jointer and a planer after you glue everything together, so it's a perfectly square just block of wood. You slap that MDF outline of your guitar that you made, like the silhouette, trace around that, and then just fucking, or you don't even have to trace around it. You just like double side tape that MDF cutout of the guitar on top of the wood that you're going to make the guitar out of, and then with a fucking router, just trace the outline of the MDF silhouette that you made. It's easy from like part that I showed you, the nut, that part right there, the nut down, super easy. You just take you got that preform sitting on top of here, and then the router just follows along that MDF preform sitting on top of the wood that the guitar is going to be made out of. And then once you get up here, then you would just like square it off, because you'd do the head carving later. But to get the whole neck and the body outline, just a fucking router with that form on top out of MDF board. So you're going to get the exact same guitar shape every time. And then just the time-consuming parts of as precise of measurements as you can possibly get for putting your pickups and bridge and shit in, because that, for like the intonation, the guitar's ability to actually play the correct note, that's pretty important. So that has to be like super, super detailed, very precise. And then, of course, cutting out the headstock, another thing that'll take some time. It got to be a little more intricate. I'm sure like a bandsaw or jigsaw, you can get like the basic shape of it. Oh, and then the headstock shape that I chose, you could see it's like two B's like back to back, sort of up there at the top where the tuning pegs are. It sort of makes like a B shape backwards on the left side and a B shape on the right. For those of you that don't know, my last name is Blumenberg, so it's Blumenberg Bass Guitars. Is never been one to put like logos and shit on, so I figure like sneak it on into the design of the guitar, and the inlays on the fingerboard, those dots, those will be like super dark, like a midnight blue. His last name's Blumenberg, so which means flower mountain in German. Blumen and Berg. So that's fun. Flower Mountain guitars would probably sound pretty lame, but I just figure use my last name and incorporate shape Blumenberg bass in the headstock design. Probably put my name on the back of it. I don't know why I just don't like an inlaid brand name on the headstock of guitars. I don't. You're not paying me to advertise your dumb shit, so you break out that checkbook, I'd consider it, but fuck it. Keep it clean and simple. I think it's a pretty good design. Usually they got like that on the left side of the guitar, on the body, that horn that sort of goes up. Usually on bass guitars, that is really super long, and I usually goes up all the way up to the 12th fret, which is the one with the two dots, the two dark blue dots on it. That's the 12th fret. Usually that horn thing goes all the way up there because then you got your strap button mounted on the end of that. And I want to imagine it's like a balance thing because, like I said, long ass fucking necks on bass guitars, they usually tend to get a little neck heavy. And so when you got it stringed around your body and you let go of the guitar, like the neck has a tendency to just dive towards the floor. So I'm assuming they put that longer horn part on there to shift the center of balance, basically. But I figure I'm making a shorter scaled guitar. The headstock is going to be, like the center of gravity shouldn't be as pulling down on the headstock as much. So shorten that horn up by a good inch and a half. And I think it just looks better. It always looks so weird to have that long. But then on this Thunderbird, there is none, which is really fucking neck heavy. This thing just dives. You can see like normally like that horn shape would fucking extend all the way up to there where the two dots are. Way up there. So this one has none. This fucker the body meets the neck almost like a Gibson Les Paul electric guitar. Like then the strap is like right fucking here. So this thing, if you got it strapped to your body and you let go, it just I just smashed the fucking head on the drums. It just dives towards the fucking ground. So and it weighs a ton. Like fucking 34-inch scale basses are huge, man. Look at how big this fucking thing is. Like it's the size of my torso, for fuck's sake. So I say, fuck this shit. I'm making a 32-inch scale bass. So it'll be basically the neck. Yeah, the colors that I chose. So like the dark brown is mahogany. The lightest color brown is maple. Because maple is just great. Dense, stiff fucking wood. It's good for necks. So you got maple running the majority of the way down the back with that sweet fucking mahogany skunk stripe. And then sort of towards the outside where the low and high string ride over, that sort of medium colored brown, I think that's going to be walnut. So you'll have the dead center mahogany, the two light ones are maple, and then two strips of walnut, and then mahogany again. And I don't know what the body wings are going to be made of yet. We'll have to see tone-wise and weight-wise, because again, this motherfucker, it's got to be like 10 or 11 pounds. And I don't know how, maybe if I had played the bass from childhood, my back muscles would be used to it and my shoulders wouldn't hurt. But nope, so fuck it. I'm making it's basically a 32-inch scale is like just eliminating this whole fret here. So imagine just the nut being right here. Just similar as if you put a capo on a fucking this bass guitar, you would be left with a 32-inch scale bass. So just imagine like the neck is shrunk down. This is like 1.78 inches, the distance from the nut to the first fret. And then, of course, I'm doing the two by two instead of just four in a row. So my head is going to be shorter, for one thing. It's going to be closer to the body. So hopefully you can get rid of that fucking dive that I've experienced with most bass guitars. So, but we'll see. Like I said, the hardest part is going to be the actual fucking carving of the back of the neck. Because it has to be perfect. Like there can be no fucking waves. And it's thicker down here. It's slightly thicker down there than it is up here. So you got to sand a fucking taper into it while keeping it perfectly fucking smooth. Like when you slide your hand on it, you cannot feel any waves or imperfections. So that's going to be the time consuming. And then fucking carving in all these angled cuts and shit. Like this is the time consuming part because it's fucking chisel work and then like rasps and files and then endless fucking sandpaper, finer and finer and finer. So you get everything is just perfectly fucking smooth. And fucking jump around on YouTube and look at people that have making their own guitars. Like they're not putting enough detail into that, and especially finishing. Like I understand this fucking thing is like mirror gloss and there's no imperfections in it. Super hard to get that. So a lot of people cut corners, they'll just wipe on like fucking tongue oil or some shit like that. Wipe 7 fucking coats of that on and then call it a day. And it doesn't look bad, but you get like this satiny flat shine to it and fingerprint just show up. Like, yeah, this is glossy as fuck, but you can touch it all day and it's like you're probably not even going to notice that there's fucking a hand has been on there. So the finish is another motherfucker that would just, it's going to take a lot of time. But the way I have it set up, fucking get that MDF silhouette of the guitar and then just fucking 2-side tape it to the wood that I all glue together. Fuck, again, jointed and planed and looking just square as fucking fuck. 2-side tape that MDF silhouette of the guitar and just route that motherfucker the neck on down through the body, and then I'll have to carve out the headstock by hand. But that's my plan. Now I just need to find a place to put power equipment like that because fucking jointers are not small. So we'll see how that works out. I know several people that have large fucking spaces. Let's see if I can rent some of that and get fucking building bass guitars. Figured, and I see on the internet a lot of people are like, where the fuck can I find a 32-inch scale bass guitar? So there seems to be a market for it, but nobody seems to be mass producing these fucking things, which doesn't make any sense. Like, people fucking want them, and I don't know why we stuck with 34-inch. It's just because fucking Leo Fender decided this seems like a good idea, and all he was about is cheap, quick, like reproduce manufacturing, just like crank these out. That's why the bolt-on neck is such a fucking popular thing, because they're on Fenders. People think they're good. That is the shittiest form of neck attachment possible. Just bolting it on. At least on like Gibsons, you got that fucking like mortise and tenon joint or whatever where it's fucking glued in, because again, the glue is stronger than the wood itself. So bolts tend to get like stripped out and shit. But again, repair wise, you break the fucking head off of a Fender guitar, you just unbolt the neck and put a new neck on, and now your guitar is good to go again. Where with this Thunderbird I got, and then the type of basses that I'm gonna build, you might want to be a little careful. Don't let it get fucking knocked over, because that Gibson is famous for that, because they have an obscenely steep fucking angle. It's like 15 fucking degree angle on their headstocks on their electric guitars. This one that I'm designing, it's got a 7-degree angle to it. So even if the guitar falls flat over, the end of that headstock isn't gonna, because it's such a steep angle on a Gibson, but if it tips over backwards, that headstock is just smashing into the ground first, and then it just busts right off. So a 7-degree tilt on the headstock is not, it's like a fucking 1/8 of an inch higher than the lowest part of the back of the body. So we'll see how that goes for string tension and keeping it secured down in the nut. I might have to go a steeper angle in future guitars, but hopefully not, because I can make the whole fucking thing and the 7-degree angle of the headstock out of an 1 3/4 inch piece of wood, which is, I don't know why wood is labeled like, oh, this is a 1x2. Well, no, it's not. It's 3/4 by 1.5. So either make actual 1x2s or just start calling 1x2s 3/4 by 1.5. I don't know why wood is, the measurements are just a lie. So yeah, that's the fucking plan. And hopefully at some point I can get that up and running. I mean, gluing wood together I can do anywhere. Routing the shit I can do anywhere, but bandsaw and a fucking jointer, Probably need a table saw too. Yeah, because I'm going to be ripping the wood because you can see on the body of the guitar they're different thicknesses. So like the 2 strips of maple are a 1/2 inch, and then the center strip of mahogany, and then the out strips of walnut. I think those were like something weird, like 0.337 or some shit. It's almost like a third, half, and then like the outer strips of mahogany will be. I think those are over an inch. Yeah, something like that. So, plus I think it kind of looks cool with the neck through wood exposed, with the body wings painted. It would also look cool with, I don't know, you probably wouldn't want to do mahogany body wings because it's a strip of mahogany right next to where the body wings attach. But you get some beautiful looking wood. Oh, the allergies are out of control this time of year. But yeah, you get some like beautiful flamed wood or something like that. Leave the whole guitar natural instead of painting it. But I noticed with darker colors, so like black looks really good with the striped neck. Dark blue, dark red, dark purple looks really good with that striped wood combination there. So we'll see what happens. Have to figure out a ways to try to, well, I guess if I just tape it where the wings attach to the body and then paint that, try to keep that paint line as thin as possible, because then I can just like seal over the whole fucking thing. Give the fucking striped neck part, spray that shit on. Just wings are already painted and attached to the body, and then just seal the whole fucking thing over. We'll see if that plan would work. Fuck. Because, yeah, finishing, like, it's going to be a lot of fumes if I'm spraying shit around, and you do it out in someone's garage or some shit, and now it's open to the elements, and bugs and dust and shit like that can land on it while the stuff you just sprayed on there is still wet. So it's going to be a tricky one, but fuck it. If I can build bass guitars in a 32-inch scale length that people seem to want but no one seems to be making, and that'd be pretty fucking cool. And I can just obviously play them myself as well. I'd really like to make my own drums, but I don't know how you make wood into a circular shape. Like those really thin plies of wood. How the fuck are they doing that? Because a lot of drums will be like 5 or 7 or 9 ply, the shell of the drum. And they're thin, and you're making them round. Like, is there a seam in that wood somewhere? I should start watching tutorials on how you fucking make drums. It's like guitars are difficult enough, but at least with modern machinery, it'll be relatively quick. Like I said, with that mold, you just fucking tape the mold and route around the whole fucking thing, and you got the basics of that. But then, like, cutting out like the fucking body recesses and shit, like, fuck, that's all done by hand. Like, all of this stuff, there's the big part carved out here. This guitar is pretty minimal with it. Like, a lot of them will have, like, a relief cut in right here for your forearm goes across, so it's not just, like, a high, hard edge. This has none of that shit. But like, you basically just draw a line where you want it to end, and then just take a fucking file or rasp, and a lot of manual labor to get rid of that shit, but all the little contours and stuff, like, you could put this type of edge on with a router as well. It'll obviously be like super square when you're just shaping it, but afterwards change the fucking bit and cut that edge right off. Obviously fine tune the sanding and whatnot to make it to your liking, but yeah, I think the hardest parts are going to be finishing the motherfucker and like headstock carving. I see there's jigs and everything for fucking sawing the fret the lines in the fretboard and shit. And even fretting it seems relatively straightforward. You just doesn't matter if you have overhang, you just clip the shit off. So you get one of these machines where you put the fret wire through and you like crank it and it gives it a curve. So whatever your radius of the fretboard is, because the fretboard isn't perfectly flat straight across, it's like it's arched. So there's like a fucking, it's higher in the middle. Usually it'd be like a 10-inch or some shit. A lot of them have compound radiuses, which I don't think I'm going to dive into right away. It's just going to, because you get a sanding block in the shape of the radius of the neck that you, whatever you want. So like you want a 10-inch radius. So imagine a 10-inch circle. Like the top of that circle is how curved or arched the neck is. So just get a sanding block and just straight down the whole fucking thing. So as it rides along the sides, it gives you that natural curve in it. Relatively easy, so that shouldn't be difficult. Cutting the slots for the frets, there's a whole jig and a fucking thing that you attach the fretboard to, and it, you can't fuck it up. Like there's notches, so you lock it into place, and there you saw one, and then you move it to the next notch, and then you saw it again. And it's for a 34-inch scale bass, but like I said, you just move the nut down to the first fret. Boom, you got a 32-inch scale bass now. So frets will be pretty easy to get into the right spot, because that's another thing. If you got them too far in the wrong spot, then the note isn't going to be correct for whatever scale instrument you're using. So there's a lot to get correct and a lot to be precise about, but I like that attention to detail and problem solving and shit. And I love instruments and guitars and stuff, so I figure, fuck, nobody, well, at least none that I kind of like. There was one company, I can't remember who they are. It's like $1,000 for their bass, 32-inch scale. Looks pretty cool, but if I'm going to spend $1,000 on something I have never held or played before, like a guitar is to me, a guitar is a guitar. I've played a 30 or 25.5-inch scale guitar, so I know what the length is going to feel like, the weight, the balance. Like it's pretty similar through most guitars, unless you just start getting into weird shaped guitars and shit like that. But most guitars that you're familiar with, Les Pauls and Fenders and shit, they're balanced well. They feel pretty good. Gibsons are heavy as hell, but it's a general thing. But I've never, I don't think I've ever held a 32-inch scale bass before, so might as well fucking build my own for a couple $100, see what the hell they're like, and if there's any chance that I'm relatively good at it, start not mass producing, but if I can crank one out a month, that would be awesome. Sell them for a reasonable price, get a nice case going with them. It's another thing, a lot of fucking guitars are sold without cases. What is the deal with that? The hell you just shipping me a guitar in a cardboard box for? Case is like $100. Just cut the price in half, $50. You bite the bullet and give me a fucking case with the guitar, for Christ's sake. And fuck your gig bag. It's worthless. I want to protect the instrument. I'll just wrap it in blankets. If you're going to give me a gig bag, might as well just wrap the shit in my own blankets and be less frustrated about how this gig bag is not even protecting anything from anything. Sell your fucking guitars with a case. It's common sense. So that'd be pretty cool. Figure these fucking some of them seem pretty smart and they understand a lot about woodworking and measurements and stuff, but fuck, some of these videos, man, it seems like these people just pure luck that they're able to manufacture something as complicated as a guitar. Like sometimes it seems sort of mind-blowing that these people are able to do it, but they are, and God bless them for that, and hopefully I will be better than them. I should document that shit too, make a whole series of my journey through this. And I imagine a lot of the tips and shit that people tell you on the internet, it's all fucking gonna be so wrong. There's been so many things, like, it's probably been like 5 years since I quit, but I stumbled into this whole candle company, started making them for myself, and then, have you ever been disappointed with how shitty and expensive candles are? Spend like $20 on a candle and the fucking thing sucks. So I started making my own probably like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I think I did it for 3 years. Started making my own, gave a bunch away to friends and family, and they liked them so much they started requesting, can you get this scent and that scent? And sure, yeah, I can do that. A friend of mine from high school owned this like awards store. They made like trophies and shirts and plaques and shit like that. So they have customers coming in. They started selling them there. People started liking them. Another person I went to high school with, her parents owned the Piggly Wiggly. It's like, hey, you want to sell them here? Like, fuck yeah. So now my shit's at Piggly Wiggly. And they're trying to sell it, in the process of selling it now, but a super popular antiques mall in this old, I think it was a McKay nursery, which we have like it was like 1850, this nursery company started with trees and shrubs and all that stuff. So that, I think it was one of their buildings. It may have been like a factory at some point too, but this huge brick rectangle building is enormous antiques mall. They started selling them there. And like, long story short, it just like locally, like Waterloo, Watertown, Fort Atkinson, place like that. I was in Madison on State Street before rent got so high, like all the hippie places got run out of business. But I was selling them. That was super popular too. All that foot traffic on State Street in Madison is insane. So that was pretty cool to be up in there. At one point, like total, I was in like 10 or 11 stores, like selling these candles that I was making in my fucking kitchen. So then I started selling them online, and that fucking blew up, selling them to people in all 50 states. I couldn't keep up. Like, demand, it took like a year and a half of me doing this before it exploded on the internet side of it. So like, after it exploded, I put up with this shit for another year and a half before I just became absolutely beyond miserable from stress and just working, because I worked a full-time job on top of this. So it's basically like 16-hour days every fucking day for over a year. And I was getting farther and far behind. Like, thousands of people were all over the country were ordering candles from me that I was making in my fucking kitchen. Like, it was insane. So, like, couldn't rely on help. So I understand, like, how shitty it must be for a large employer. And there was one chick that she did exactly what I wanted, and the product turned out perfect. Like, I could not have been happier with the work this person was doing, but she would only show up like 30% of the time. So I'd fucking be at my job, like actual job, thinking like, oh, she's going to be there. I'm going to get all this done. So she would make the fucking things, and then I would be responsible for wrapping them, packing them, weighing the fucking box. It was all these steps you got to fucking do. They're in glass jars, so I wrapped them in fucking bubble wrap and then put them in a box just encased in fucking packing peanuts. I had, behind me, it was just boxes, like floor to ceiling, candle supplies, fucking jars, like 6 to 8 50-pound boxes of wax. It was nuts. So I'd print out the shipping orders. Like, I could print everything out at home, pay for it through the USPS, print everything out, which saves you money, which is pretty cool. But I mean, that's so fucking time consuming, like entering all that shipping information, weighing the fucking box, entering that into the UPS or USPS thing, and just the fucking care it took so they wouldn't just be shattered in transit. So it was her thing to fucking make them, to pack them and ship them out. Fuck. Like, even to this day, like, I quit, just threw in the towel, said, fuck it. Like, it was bad. Like, obviously, people had paid for these fucking things, and I just disappeared for like 2 months. So they're emailing me like, hey, what the fuck is going on here? Because they all well, a lot of them understood that I was basically a one-man operation and that I was just over fucking whelmed with orders. But people that have gotten their shit in the past are like, yep, it's going to take a long fucking time to get them, but you're going to get them. So long, like, obviously, people thought I was ripping them off, so they got the police involved. I explained the situation and, like, yeah, dude, like, I fucking just cracked mentally. Like, I had to take, like, a month off of work from my regular job because I went to the doctor. I'm like, I think I'm losing my fucking mind here, man. Like, I'm beyond just, like, a nervous fucking wreck. Because all of these people, fuck yeah, Stephanie, like, no joke, like, even still, it's been 5 years since I stopped making them, and people still ask me if I will start making them again. Like, I'm not tooting my own horn here. I made one of the best candles you will ever have in your life, period. I didn't skimp on the scent, and I didn't go overboard, so it was just, like, disgustingly overwhelming. Like, I had this fucking great balance. And, like, no joke, I have these little 8-ounce mason jar candles. One of those, the whole floor of your home is going to smell good. Like, there's just, I had a fucking gold mine in my lap, and I just, like, mentally couldn't keep up. So, you know, the police are like, well, you can't be stealing. I'm like, I'm not stealing people's money. Here's the fucking thing. Like, we can go talk to my doctor if you need proof of this. Like, I'm not just making shit up. I've been selling these motherfuckers for like 3 years with no complaints. Like, you can dig into those records if you want to, man. But like right now, like mentally, like I'm fucked. It's like I was afraid to go outside and shit. Like, I wasn't depressed in the manner like I would just sit and cry, but it would just be like constant, like, how are you going to fucking do this? Like, all these fucking people are pissed. So now it's just like, well, should you even fucking keep going? Like, fuck it. Just let them be mad. Like, a million thoughts are going through your head. And it's like, no, fucking, come on, just fight fucking through this. Eventually, I just said, fuck it. People got their money back. People who wanted their orders still ended up shipping them out too. Fuck. To make tens of thousands of dollars a year from your house, like making candles in your fucking kitchen, like, I'll probably never strike gold like that again. Man. I was on the front page of my local newspaper, the Waterloo Courier. The Lake Mills leader fucking interviewed me. Is it the Jefferson Daily Union? I was in that paper. Man, that was a wicked time. I finally run out. I had boxes and boxes of my own candles, and like I did wax melts and different types of jar sizes. There's like a 16-ounce glass jar, 12-ounce aluminum tin. I'd do the little tea light things as samplers. So you ordered some candles. Well, here's some like 5 random scents coming with your order. Maybe you like these and we'll buy them in the future. And it fucking worked. Like, it was getting bigger and bigger and better. But I had a lady from Canada who was some type of like investment executive or some shit who contacted me about fucking doing a Canadian subsidiary. So she would follow like my recipe and shit exactly. But the only thing is, like, we couldn't access the type of wax I used. It was Golden Brands 464. It's a soy wax, which, little tidbit about that. People see, oh, soy wax. Like, oh, that's got like a natural thing. Like, all it is fucking trans fat. It's partially hydrogenated soybean oil. It's soy wax is trans fat. Shredded. It comes in flake form. It's nuts. Like, I grabbed a fucking pinch of it and started chewing on it, It does not dissolve. It's like gum. It tastes like wax. Like there's really no flavor to it, but it's an interesting consistency. Like chewing on it, it's not as like tough and like put together as chewing gum would be. But again, like it does not. I chewed on that shit for like a half hour and it was still the same glob I had put in. Like no parts were breaking off and making it down my throat. It's nuts. And they used to put that shit in food, like trans fat. Remember the government said like you can't put trans fat in this shit no more. And everyone lost their minds like, how dare you not put trans fat in my food? Well, first of all, you don't even know what the fuck trans fat is. It's just hydrogenated vegetable oil, corn oil, soybean oil. Doesn't matter. But you make candles out of it and everyone thinks you're eco-friendly. And they didn't know that they were fucking burning the shit that they were shoveling down their fucking throats and making their asses fatter. But to them, it was like, whoa. Because, yeah, like paraffin wax is a petroleum-based thing. Which is why, like, I don't know, it just has like that weird, it's like oily. It's from crude oil, obviously. It's part of the refinement process. You're left over with paraffin wax, but yeah, for some reason people thought they were being so eco and fucking 21st century with these soy candles, and no, you're just burning trans fats, all you're doing. But that made them non-toxic. Like you could eat the shit. I would not advise eating it with the scent oil in it, because that would be probably not good. Might not kill you, but well, some of them were like, yeah, do not get this, because you could use these scents for lotions and shit. Like I made lotion for a while, which was a big hit at the place I worked, because we worked in like I worked in a clean room, so it was super climate controlled, but pretty much everywhere else was air conditioned. And these women were always working with their hands and paper and like stuff like that. So like my hands are always dry, and they said my lotion was the best fucking lotion they had ever experienced. But I didn't really, once the candle part took off, I abandoned all the other shit. So it was just candles. 'Cause I couldn't even keep up with that, let alone, like I was going to get into like soap and shit like that. But the candle thing exploded to a point where it's like, fuck, I can't. I have to like eliminate part of my product line, because like I can only, like it was nuts. I could, during the day, I could just look at my phone and it would just be like, every 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most, like there's another new email notification. It was so crazy. Maybe I'll start doing it again. I don't know. Because I need more for myself. Like I said, I ran out. Yeah. Going through that whole fucking nightmare again. Like if I did it again, there would be a disclaimer like, hey, well, now I don't, like I work from home now, so I guess it would be a lot easier, because instead of 8 to 10 hours at my regular job and then coming home to work like another 6 to 8 hours, I had my own website, Stephanie. So like I did some Reddit shit, and then everyone's like, well, how the fuck do I get these? So I quickly threw a website together, which was another pretty cool experience. Taught myself how to, it's pretty easy now. And this was like 7 years ago. So it's so easy today to build a website. You don't have to know anything about it. It's just like, do you want this part here? Like, well, drag it and move it over to here, or just delete it and get it out of there if you don't want this. Cause there's just templates and you just add pictures and your own words. Like it's so fucking easy. But I figured out how to like edit the CSS or whatever fuck that shit is. Almost 10 years ago. I don't really remember. But yeah, it was cheesy looking, like stuck in the 90s, like bluish and greenish and like no yellow or lime green lettering or nothing like that. But just something quick and basic. And I figured out this is the part that really fucking pisses me off. So I figured out how to accept credit card payments through PayPal. Like a whole shopping cart thing. It was just like add to cart, go to cart, finish my payment. Like, whoa, okay, that was fucking cool. Like easier than I thought. And this was when Bitcoin started to be a thing. So everyone's like, hey, will you accept Bitcoin payment? I'm like, what the fuck is Bitcoin? Like, well, it's this cryptocurrency. It's blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, I don't really understand that. But there was so many people telling me it sounds weird, but just trust us. So after a while, I'm like, okay, I don't think all of these people are like lying, because then I start Googling, and it's like, oh, so reputable businesses online are accepting Bitcoin. So maybe it's not a bunch of bullshit. So at this time, Bitcoin was like $33 for a Bitcoin, which in my mind, I'm like, what? I have to give you 33 real dollars and I only get one Bitcoin back? And they're like, yeah, but just it's not taxed, all this shit. And they're like, okay, well, like the things they're saying sound cool, but it seems risky. Like the bottom could just fall out. So I tried. I really fucking tried. I put the few hours that I had focused on like, okay, how do I set up a fucking Bitcoin through like Coinbase or whatever the fuck? I don't remember what I tried doing it through. And like, how do I get a fucking, because right now it's just like PayPal, pay with PayPal, and you click the thing, and how do I put that Bitcoin icon so I see it on other websites? How the fuck do I do that? So like you need this exchange thing, and you set this because it's not through a bank, and it's like, okay, try this step, that step, and now you got to verify your identification, like that it's you. And for some reason, I could never get past that point, and then figure out how to like integrate the whole payment acceptance into my website. Obviously, everyone knows hindsight is 2020, and there's no guarantee that I would have hung on to any of these Bitcoins from like a couple years ago when it was like $19,000 for one Bitcoin. But when I went back and like crunched some numbers, I figured I would have had like roughly 150 Bitcoin grand total from the amount of people saying like, and then for like people were gifting Bitcoin. Like, I don't even know. I had like a fraction of a Bitcoin that someone just gave me on Reddit like 8 years ago, but I don't know where the fuck that is. Like, it's probably worth like couple hundred bucks maybe by now. But yeah, that whole thing was fucked. Had I hung on to the 19,000 shit, yep, there would have been my millionaire dream come true. Of course, at any point, if it hit $1,000, probably would have sold it right there. Because you get these things for like between like 30 and 50 bucks back then. All of a sudden, something that is worth like I paid $35 or $40 for is now worth $1,000, and I got like 100 of them. What? Yeah. So to lie to myself that I would have, oh, I'm just riding this bitch out. No way. 1,000, I guaranteed I would have sold. And if not 5,000, 100% I would have sold all them fucking things. So I never would have come close to my million anyway. But, fuck. Sometimes life just stabs that fucking knife and it just starts twisting it. Like, ha, here's a little more for you, dickhead. Good times. So yeah, maybe I'll get back into the candle thing. It was pretty cool, like how proud of me everyone was, and never had a single person fucking say like, these fucking suck, give me my money. None, not one single person. If I do it again, there are certain scents that I will never be making ever again. Anything coffee scented is not going to be available. Headache and nausea, they made my head hurt so much, like mixing the scent because it's hot. It's like 190-degree wax. Then you're adding the scent oil, so it's just pummeling you with the scent. Like it's like the candle's burning, but it's this big aluminum pitcher full of it. Those fucking coffee, especially the hazelnut coffee and banana nut bread. Oh my God, never again will I make those fucking scents. It's disgusting. It made me physically sick. But some of them are fucking, oh, I miss them. Like Winter Cabin, perfect winter. It's like a little, not a strong pine, but it's like hint of woods. Like some little bit of like Christmas spice. Fuck yeah. Yeah, maybe I will start doing that shit again. I looked recently. Never got a good cedar scent to come out right. That's, I don't know, like some of them, like the vanilla smelled like vanilla, cinnamon like cinnamon, stuff like that. But I don't know, some of them were like whiskey. Didn't smell like whiskey. The weed did not smell like weed. Cedar, shit like that. Yeah, cedar, fuck for that. Like literally just buy some cedar wood. Like just shred it up and put it in a big bowl. Keep some cedar on hand where you can just keep shaving parts off and it's always gonna, like, cedar is fucking awesome. But yeah, could not find an accurate. There's like a fucking some type of birch one was the closest. But again, that just sort of smelled like burning wood. The campfire scent smelled nothing like a campfire. Coors Light smell. Peanut butter and Miller High Life was my most popular seller. Those flavors, the scents combined. That's another thing. People always call it flavors. Oh, these still got that flavor? Not if you're eating them, you fucking pervert. So yeah, I was, I don't know what the hell, chandler? Is that what a professional can? I would call myself a wixman. As a professional wixman. Yeah, it's pretty good fucking times. Yeah, I'll get into that. A new name. Yeah. The STMU. It'll just be my fucking channel name. Just the whole, it's just the stamp of STMU. And then the scent. That's all you're getting. M-Wix. Yeah. Before it was shortened to Max Wax. Mac is another nickname. Muck, Mac, Mike. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I'm just reminiscing about like looking back on that. Some of it was fucking like super high peak, like awesome, like fucking newspapers are talking to me like what? To like the absolute lowest. Like this 3-year span. Like what a wild ride. And I also banged the woman of my dreams during that span too. And I was like at the crescendo. It's like, whoa, I've spent 15 years trying to make this happen. And oh, it's happening. And my candle thing is going really well. And fuck, that like, how old was I? 33? 33 or 34. Yeah, 33 going into 34. Fuck. I peaked at 33. Well, at least I did better than Ben Wyatt. Fucking ice clown. Damn it. Yeah, I'd love to go back and relive that year once or twice. Hurry up with this fucking Neuralink, whatever shit Elon Musk is working on, implanting stuff into your mind. If you can upload my brain and memories into some type of computer, oh, God, if that was a thing at some point in our lifetime, so even if after you die, like you would still feel alive just as your memory or whatever in a machine, but it'd be like a DVD. Like you could just like pick the chapter. So like specifically like this day or this hour or like this month was out of control and you're like you'd be reliving it in your memory. That would be awesome. But it feels real. It wouldn't be like a dream. It would like that Black Mirror episode where I think it's the John Hamm, they put the person in the egg or whatever. The chick was supposed to just sit there at the control desk. Like it would feel like that real. But you wouldn't be stuck in this white room with a control desk. It would just be the world, the whole earth. Like you could do whatever. Need to hurry up on that technology, goddammit. I'm not getting any younger here. youthful looks ain't gonna hold up forever. But by the time I'm 45, it's just gonna be just like that. But moisturize. I've been putting lotion on my face every time I take a shower since I was like 15, and starting to get some cracks around the old eyes, but yeah. Can't win forever. Yeah. So the whole kind of went on a whole bass guitar ramble there. Thank you, Stephanie. I can't see you, but you look very good too. It was like a good hour-long ramble there about allergies again. What is happening? Bass guitars and candle stuff, and I guess I got a bunch of good people say, like, I don't know, not the most extravagant life ever, but I like to mix it up and see what the hell is going on. Like, once upon a time, I used to always, like, I worked third shift, so I'd come home in the morning and it's like turn on the CNN or whatever when I still paid for television. And in their morning show, they'd have these, like, hour long or whatever, it was probably like 8 or 9 in the morning, where you could just write in and they'd like, here's the topic for today. And if you were fucking interesting at all, they'd put your ramblings on the screen and talk about it. So I was on there like 4 fucking times over a 2-month span. Like, they just kept putting my ramblings. It's got my name. So after a while, it's got to be like, who the fuck is Mac Blumenberg? Like, this guy keeps fucking writing in because it's being cleared by someone to be put on air. So after the first one, I'm like, see if I can get on again. So I went a little more like edgy with it. And by like the 4th one, like, I was referencing Hitler and shit. And like, they just put it on the air. And then so I started, like, I still used Facebook back then as well. So then, like, our local news stations like NBC 15 and shit like that, they would do like similar stuff, like, hey, here's a story, what's your opinion on it? And like, I can eloquently put a fucking paragraph of thoughts together, like, it ain't that difficult. And they reached out to me, they're like, would you like to appear on camera for an interview? So I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. So they came to me. I went, like, it was this weird, so the building next to me is owned by a friend of mine, and she was letting me use the basement to make candles and shit in until it was only like 3 months that I got to work down there, because the main floor was a chiropractor, and all he did was throw a fit that people were getting sick from the scents, even though I would not manufacture candles while he was there. So he like closes at like 7 p.m. or some shit. So from like 7 to 2 in the morning, I'd be down there making candles. And it's like 5-6 hours to fucking like dissipate. Because once the candle cools and solidifies, it's not just pouring scent out. Well, he threw a fucking fit so much. He said I was destroying his fucking... You don't need a chiropractor. They're a sham. It's all bullshit. The chick I banged is a physical therapist. Chick that I... been 15 years, and then I finally banged her. Age of 33 is the best year of my life. She's a physical therapist, and I was in a car accident in like 2000, fucked my hip all up, like my discs got fucked. So now like there's like nerve pain in my left leg and shit. Sometimes when I walk, it's like a pinching and I lose power in my leg. So every doctor is like, you're gonna need surgery, you're gonna have to do surgery. But did you try a chiropractor? Like, fuck you. Chiropractors are quacks. Like, I understand why my shit is out of alignment. A car accident. So if a chiropractor is like snapping them back into line, that your bones are now where they belong. It would only take another violent episode to knock your bones out again. So like, if the chiropractor fixes you and you fucking pop some shit picking up a heavy basket of laundry or something, the chiropractor never fixed you. The problem still existed in your discs or whatever the fucking problem is. Chiropractors are fake. It's all a fucking sham. Ugh, fuck. I don't trust any of them. They're all. You should never. It's like, seriously, like nothing I have ever done just destroyed my back the way a car accident did. Yeah, if you need one, then go do one. It's your life. I mean, it just seems like a waste of money. Ah, damn it. I forgot what I was talking about before I got sidetracked by chiropractors. Son of a bitch. Yeah, it's the weird thing. Like, my very first episode ran for 7.5 hours, and I had like 4 people call in. And we were talking for like the one dude I talked to for like 2.5 hours. This Australian guy called in, talked to him for like an hour and 45 minutes. You can talk about whatever the fuck you want. Like, I don't give a shit if you want to. There's a lot of people super mad at me about the whole Roger Stone video I made. So if you guys are watching and you want to call in and yell at me, go for it. You want to sing my praises? That's fine. But I'd appreciate it if you yelled at me. I like mixing it up. Yeah, my plan was to... Yeah, of course you have no idea who I am. Sar Gridson Figlioma. What the fuck? Are you Icelandic or some shit? Or is that just fake? It's just a fake name. I'm new around here, Sar Gridsian. But have no doubt, I will be a household name. Maybe. Oh, well, that's depressing. I thought you had a cool Icelandic name. It is a place I'd like to go. Iceland. That'd be pretty sweet. I like volcanism and shit like that. Tectonics. Yeah. I want to do the whole Scandinavia thing too. Like Finland looks awesome. I want to get up there around winter time. So you got pretty much nightly if it's clear. From what I understand, it's often cloudy. But on clear nights, it's almost several times a week. There's gonna be some sweet aurora going on. And I saw them numerous times in Wisconsin. Like one magical year was around 2003. It was like 3 or 4 times in the summer. There's the fucking Northern Lights tonight. Like, this is awesome. Haven't seen them since. Past couple solar maximums have been a bust. Hopefully we get some shit ramping up again. Maybe check out Sweden. When I was a kid in like the 80s and shit, it was all the rage. The Swedish bikini team. It was the best. They were always like, I don't know what they were pitching. Were they selling beer? I don't know. Seems like the 80s were like more risque and stuff like that, because Elvira was always fucking creeping around during Halloween, them huge tits hanging out, teased up Peggy Bundy hair, who she was hot as hell too. Yeah. You never heard of the Swedish bikini team? They wear burqas now. It would be hotter if they wore the Yushenka hats with the red bikinis. Elvira. Yeah, the fucking Queen of the Dark or something like that. Queen of the Night, Queen of the Dark. Did I remember fucking Quick Trips would have like life-size cutouts Elvira? Probably pitching Bud Light. That was all the rage. Spuds McKenzie. Damn. That's another time I want to go back. So 33, when I was 33, I want to relive that. And then to go back to like 89-ish. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I never understood that about Married with Children. Dude, Peggy was hot as fuck. Kelly was all right. Maybe it was like the whole dumb thing was off-putting. She was like cute and whatnot, but fuck. The way Peggy, like, she would like sit on the couch with her legs crossed and like shake her leg and their fucking big tits would just jiggle around. That was the best. The hell was Al's problem? I don't know, I'd be fucking, and she was always fucking horny, like always wanted to fuck. So like, what more do you want, dude? Weird. Al had it all, and he didn't appreciate it. Dude, Peggy's the best. She, in like real life, she's one of them women that just, they keep getting fucking hotter and hotter. She's like 60 years old now. She's still fucking smoking hot. Some of those Al insults, oh my God. That was another great thing. Like on cable now, you can get away with shit. Like It's Always Sunny does, well, not anymore. They're fucking It's Always Sunny sucks now. There's my cat in the background. You can see her in front of the blue light. Getting a little food. Little food time for Pepper. Network TV, like that shit was out of control. Married with Children, like the shit they were doing, all the sex and suggestive shit like that. And now it's like just dumb as fuck. Dude, network TV is terrible. They cancel all the good shows like AP Bio. I don't know what NBC was thinking. They had the same shit go down with like so they had the Seinfeld Friends in the 90s. Massive. Then they strike gold again with Community, Parks and Rec, 30 Rock, and The Office. For several years, all of those shows were on at the same time. Like, they were all fucking amazing TV shows. And then you lose that fucking cash cow. So then you get another one where people like it. Like, Patton Oswalt was good. His assistant lady, whatever her name is, she was fucking hilarious. People like Dennis, he's still doing the same cocky stuff, even though it's toned down because it's on a network. And then you cancel it. Dude, it took, like, The Office's first year was pretty bad. Like, ratings were not good. I think 30 Rock often suffered from ratings problems, which cannot be true. Like, after Community went to Yahoo, like one of their final episodes or whatever, like the Dan Harmon guy did a voiceover on one of them, and he's like, did like a ramble about how they can get fucking canceled and then go to like an internet network, and all of a sudden it turns out like tens of millions of people are watching this fucking show. So like, how are like still to this day networks with this Nielsen rating? Who is a Nielsen family? Like, who is doing the reporting? I remember one time in like 94 or 95, we got the offer to be like this Nielsen thing. And we were told, like, we got to take notes. You got to watch these shows. Here's when they're on. You got to watch them and then keep notes. What did you like? What didn't you like? How long did you tune in for? What did you turn to afterwards? Like, you documenting your fucking television watching shit. But we never did. Nobody ever kept track of it. And I think they called like, well, did you keep it? We're like, nah. So they never contacted us again. But if that's how ratings are being reported, good God, how does any fucking TV show get good ratings? Who is taking notes of their television watching shit? Oh, dude, Roseanne was good the first time around in the 80s. And I think whenever that ran till like 91 or 93 or some shit like that. This latest go around, I'm not watching that bullshit. It's like the whole Full House thing. That was terrible when it was actually on, when I watched it in the 80s. That and 90210, like Family Matters was good. If they could have got Urkel the fuck out of there and just based that show like more around the dad. The dad was hilarious. Just a dumbass fucking kids. It's kind of like, well, can't really compare it to Married with Children because like that is just the most white trash just shit available. Like at least the dad in Family Matters was he was a cop. What is What Channel about? But the first time around with Roseanne, its original run, yeah, that was awesome. Good show. Even like it's not none of them really hold up anymore, but In Living Color was another really like boundary pushing as far as like vulgarity and shit you could do and say on that was on Fox. This channel is about whatever I feel like doing. Sometimes I'll just live stream these types of rambles. Sometimes I'll do compilation videos. Like if you like Tim Heidecker and Greg Turkington, I have probably close to a dozen on cinema and the Oscar special. Tons of them. Fucking. So if you like that shit. And then if I like just stumble across videos that I think would be funny if I chopped them up. So like the Roger Stone deposition, the Rage compilation is just him acting like a total prick and a baby and a psychopath all at the same time, like gnashing his teeth. He's so fucking mad. Yeah. So I got a bunch of that stuff. Sometimes I'll just make weird, like just here's a fake advertisement for something. Sometimes I give shit away. Like I have to redo that. I was doing like green screen videos before, but I got sick of all the hours it took to edit and process and just waiting for a computer to do a fucking video. So I started doing the live stream shit. Just fuck it. But I got to figure out a way because every time I hit a milestone subscriber-wise, I'd do a giveaway. So like 250, 500, 750, 1,000. And then we got up to 1,500. And that's when I started doing the live stream. So I'm like, after the live stream's over, come back to the video and leave a comment if you want to get in on the drawing. But apparently no one is watching the video all the way through to even hear that message. So I'm just going to have to like do in this setting because I don't have to live stream it. I can just simply record. I'm broadcasting through OBS, broadcasting software. So I can just record what I'm doing right now. And then I don't have to worry about editing or fucking chroma keying a green screen out or nothing. I just, here's the 2,000 subscriber thing. Comment if you want to get in. So I fucking, yeah, people been telling me that, like, why don't you just fucking do like your own podcast or whatever? Cause I've found like last week's show was not very good. I was just in a bad mood because my sleep was all fucked up from the whole bass guitar thing. Like just studying that. So I'd be up till like 8 or 9 in the morning, just staying all the way through, stay up all the way through, get a couple hours of sleep, wake up, like study more, watch more videos of people, how you're building these. So like last week's show was just me basically just ranting and raving like a lunatic. But you'll have that from time to time. Not trying to pretend like I'm some fucking perfect presenter. Yeah. You high or drunk, Stephanie? But yeah, hopefully like what you can take away, both. I guessed it. I don't know. You're either high or drunk or both. So keep on rocking in the free world. I'm fucked up too. I keep forgetting, like, I lose my train of thought when I get sidetracked for 10 fucking seconds. But yeah. So I finally started to do it after everyone's just like, because, man, in my partying days, we'd have after bars at my place frequently. And there would be some epic monologues of just me snapping off about something. Sometimes I'd be mad and all stuff. Other times it'd just be like, I am always loud. Obviously, like, you got to get loud when you get drunk. It's just what you do. The live streams, how long I've been doing the live streams? This is 7th episode, so like a month, probably. I was going to do them twice a week and then once a week, try to stick to a schedule, but I hate schedules. Loud is very good. Yeah, if it goes up to 11, you fucking do it. If you don't know the goes up to 11 reference, watch This Is Spinal Tap. Right now, leave the stream, go watch that movie. This is Spinal Tap. It's got the dude from Better Call Saul's brother, Michael McKean. And the guy that does the voice of a shitload of people on The Simpsons, Harry Shearer. Who the fuck does he do? Like Smithers, Burns. Total. Yeah. I was going to say, I got a video with 1.75 million views. Damn. I got one of them's close. What the fuck? Which one is it? I recut Chernobyl. So Dyatlov looks even fucking crazier. And it's a day in the life of Dyatlov. Comrade Dyatlov or some shit. I think that's got almost 750,000 views. Man, it would be nice if I could monetize that motherfucker, but unfortunately, HBO gets that money. But I have made good money off of the Roger Stone Rage compilation video. It's like $400 I've made off of that motherfucker. Have I been doing well mentally? Yeah, the 5 years ago when everything was just like a shitstorm. Like, I got it addressed. I went to a doctor and a counselor and all that shit. So I had like therapy and medication. The therapist, like, I only did that for a couple months, and she's like, "Yep, you're good here." So I'm like, "Oh, okay," because I guess the medication was helping too. I took that medicine for like a year, and it's sort of like, and I radically changed my diet, stuff like that. So even still, like years later, I stuck with that, which I really regret not doing my entire life, man. If you just eating right, and it's not that you don't, I still eat shit. Fucking greasy bar burgers and shit like that. Pizza, lasagna. I fucking love that shit. Pork chops all the time. I eat pork chops like 3 fucking times a week. So, fucking, the thing that I hate the most about vegetarians and vegans, they say like, well, if you just cut meat out, you're going to feel so much better. Like plant-based. No, you can still eat meat and potato chips and all that shit. Just add the plant-based fruits and vegetables to your diet. That's all I have done. Like, I don't exercise or nothing. I've lost like 10 fucking pounds. The only exercise I get, like, I walk. It helps my hip thing from the car accident. If I don't walk enough, like, it tightens up and shit. So Quick Trip's like a half mile away. So if the weather's nice, I just walk to Quick Trip. Sometimes Piggly Wiggly. It's like 3/4 of a mile away. And I drum. So, which is great cardio, to be honest with you. If you hate exercising, but you still want to like get in a little shape, get a drum set. E-drums. Put headphones on like nobody can fucking hear you. And I promise you, 5 songs in, you are going to be drenched in sweat. All right? Doesn't even matter if you know how to play the motherfuckers. Just, I plug a USB cable from my drums into my computer. I put a playlist on YouTube, and I fucking hear everything coming through the headphones. My drum set is mixed into what I'm hearing from YouTube. It's awesome. So just do that. And eventually you're going to get good at them. Like, no one's good when you start anything. Like, you couldn't ride a bike the first time. You couldn't walk the first time. You couldn't talk the first time. Stick with it, man, and it's fun. Like, once you get good, like, I've been playing them since I was 10, so it's, if I take months off and then come back, it's like a couple days to get back into the groove of it, but it's just fucking fun, man. Once you get good at it, and you're like, there's a lot of songs on YouTube where, like, through Rock Band or some shit, people were able to, like, remove the drum part. So you'll still have like Vince Neil and Mick Mars and fucking Nikki Sixx on bass. But now you, like, if you stop playing the drums, like, it's just the music, fucking Wild Side or Girls, 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 or whatever. And then you're, oh, dude, it's so then you don't have to play the original drum pattern. Like, you want to fucking spice it up and do your own thing? Awesome. There's hundreds of those fucking songs. It's even awesome to just play along, like, over the regular song. Just like mix your drums a little higher so you're drowning out the drummer. And that way it's kind of helpful too, because I mean, if you have any type of melody or like fucking like a metronome in you, you can stay on time by basically listening to the guitars and shit. But to be able to hear, like, sometimes you'll hear like a snare drum and you're like, oh, I should have hit the snare drum there. Or that's how he does the drum roll. Or if you have like audio recording software, you could just steal the fucking, like, download the song to your hard drive or whatever and bounce that into your DAW, digital audio workstation for audio, and cut a part out, fucking loop it, and then just keep practicing over and over again until, because you're hearing what the real drummer is doing and you're just playing over the top of it. So, I mean, it's an amazing way to fucking, God, before the internet, Jesus Christ. My parents would never let me have the fucking acoustic drums, and like electronic drums in the 80s and early 90s were terrible. Like, beyond shit, and they were so fucking expensive. Like, the one behind me was $1,300, which is mid-level. But I don't think you need to spend, like, fucking Roland makes one. It's like $7,500, which is just nuts. I don't give a shit at all about the sounds that are built into that fucking thing, because if I record drums, it's just going into drumming software. It's basically being used as a MIDI controller. So the velocity and the pad that I hit is just being sent to the computer, and then I put in whatever sound I want. So you can pick from dozens of bass and snare drums and toms and tuning and cymbal size and darkness and brightness. And so you don't get dynamically the same as an acoustic drum set while playing. So in the moment, like, your dynamics, because it's like steps up, basically. There's probably like 12 different steps or 10 different steps of velocity. But if you take your time after like, the MIDI notes are 100% editable. You can do anything you want to them. So you want like a snare drum that comes in and progressively gets like soft to loud to loud to loud. Yeah, you can get halfway there on an E drum set. It's going to be sort of machine gunny sometimes, but you can go in and edit each of them notes. It might take you a while, but you could fucking do it to where you can edit out any imperfection. Now, I'm not saying you need everything exactly on time, because that sounds terrible. The human ear it just does not like it when everything is perfectly on time. It sucks all the soul and emotion out of it. It just becomes like mechanical and robotic. Like any fucking EDM music. I don't know how people love that bullshit. It's just the same fucking thing. There's no like dynamics. To each their own, though. I mean, you want to fucking do some Molly and fucking idolize some dude that's literally just pushing play on a fucking computer and acting, just pretending like he's twisting knobs and stuff, and, oh, I'm going to do that. No, you're not doing anything. At one of the Coachellas, you can watch that fucking shit. A few years ago, I'm watching this fucking EDM fucking idiot, and he's up there. He played the song Electric Avenue by Eddie Grant. So if you don't know that song, go listen to it. There's a lot of stuff like weird sounds like that, all fucking overlaid and stuff. I listened to this fucking DJ literally just hit play, and now all those sound effects that are in the original song, he's pretending, and the crowd is just going nuts. He's pretending like he's adding all of these like flares and accents to the song. He didn't add a single fucking thing. All he did was pretend. Like, oh, look, there, I'm fucking doing it. Like, I'm making all this stuff happen. I don't get it. Like, I would just sit in my living room and do drugs and listen to the awesome fucking music that I want to. I don't need some idiot to pretend like he's orchestrating this song on the fly. You didn't do a fucking thing. You hit play. That's all you did. That's all they do. God, it is. And for someone who plays instruments, man, that is the worst type of music. There's no human emotion. There is nothing that makes me want to connect or even give a shit about this song. There's like that sweet spot, man. Like at some point in the 70s, they sort of hit it like on the dynamics and recording quality. Because you listen to some shit from like the 50s and even into late 60s, they're still recording in mono and everything. There's like shitty multi-tracking technology and it was a fucking mess. But then in the 70s, they sort of started to figure it out. Like microphone technology was good, amp technology, like still had noise in the signal chain, but it's kind of welcoming almost. It's kind of nice to hear like that little bit of like warm fuzz, almost like a hum. Yeah, all that shit's gone now. Everything is so clean and polished and exactly on time. It's terrible. None of that music has ever fucking, like, the only emotion it brings out is anger in me. I don't know. Like, you watch an old Led Zeppelin performance, like, live. Do the Earl's Court from, like, 77 or some shit like that. Amazing. Going to California. Led Zeppelin live at Earl's Court. Just watch that performance. Like, if you don't get chills, man, I feel sorry for you. Just the fucking, it's like the dude's on acoustic guitar and then there's like another dude on like a mandolin in the background. And it's just the way they're fucking interweaving with each other. It's amazing. And now today we just get some asshole standing behind a fucking podium pretending like he's mixing on the fly the song Electric Avenue by Eddie Grant. Jesus, fuck all of you. You got a little cat come to say hi. Hey, Pepe. You say hi? There you go. Little beast. I love cats. For those of you that are new around here, I gotta tell you right now, I do love cats. They are my favorite. Dogs are cool too. I've had many a dog, including the best dog ever that I got for my 7th birthday. His name was Joey. Had him for 14 years. He was my best friend. I loved him very much. And I still miss him a lot. Steve Aoki, that idiot that throws the cake. What type of stupid fucking gimmick is that? Like, it doesn't get any gayer than that. Or maybe it's another idiot who throws the cake. I know I've seen one of them throw cakes. It's such a cool thing to do is to throw cake on hot, sweaty people who are all packed together. Yeah. I do, however, like what Questlove has been doing. He's DJing some shit up, but as you can see, if you watch him, it's The Roots on YouTube or Twitch. Probably going live right now. It's usually around like 8 to midnight-ish that he does it. But you can tell, like, he's got a limited bag of tricks that he is able to do on his mixing board, and one of the knobs he turns sort of makes it like robotic and like go like in a robotic sort of thing. Another one gives a bunch of echo, and you can see him. He'll be like tapping on a button to sync up to the beat of the song that's playing. So that way your fucking echo or delay or reverb will be in time and sound correct. But I mean, there's only a certain amount of things he can do. And he can like cue up another record and like match the fucking beats per minute and shit, and then use a section from the record he's got queued up and lay that over top of the song that he's playing. But you physically cannot orchestrate a whole fucking song on the fly like this clown was pretending to do at Coachella. was so pathetic. Like, I was a fan of the show. Jordan Adams has been like hundreds of concerts, and he could probably attest to this. Like, I don't know if he does EDM shit or not. We never touched on any of that, but I don't know. Someone who appreciates like the artistry of musicians, and it's awesome to hear. It's one thing to hear on a CD or some shit, because that's over and over and over and over again until it's the way we want it. But seeing, it's like watching like, not all. I'm not saying all concerts are like this. There have been some fucking magical ones, but it's like watching Michelangelo like paint over the course of 2 hours. He's just doing this fucking work of art for you, and it's amazing when he's done. Like, that's what a good live band should be doing for you. Like, the most emotionally moving, it's like 2007 when Rage Against the Machine did their last like reunion. They only did like 5 or 6 shows. One of them happened to be Alpine Valley, Wisconsin, the place that killed Stevie Ray Vaughan. Tragic. Do not fly in a helicopter in fog. It's killed Stevie Ray Vaughan. It killed Kobe the rapist. And it killed a coworker of mine. His uncle was a med-flight pilot, and he died while crashing into a hillside in fog, just like Kobe the rapist and Stevie Ray Vaughan trying to leave Alpine Valley. So don't do it. If it's foggy and someone's like, get into this helicopter, decline. Fake a heart attack if you have to. Do not get into that helicopter. But Rage Against the Machine, 2007, Alpine Valley, by far the most emotionally moving thing I've ever seen with my own peepers. Alpine Valley, it's like a hillside type deal with seats built in towards the bottom, and then like a pavilion. Like, stage facing out has like a pavilion under the seat, over the seating area, and then the hill grassy area is just open seating. So I don't know how many people it holds, but I was halfway down into the actual seat area on the left side. So we were looking from the left side of the stage, and just overlooking the whole entirety of the rest of the people in the actual seating area, and then all the people on the fucking hill. Like, it had to have been at least 15 to 20,000 people. And they opened with Testify, and oh my God, after like boom, you know, the fucking drum thing, and then everything comes in, and there's Zach and Tom Morello are both doing their jumping around type thing. And then you just look, and seriously, that concert was like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours long. That whole fucking sea of people was just jumping in almost perfect unison almost the whole time. And then like the band is so like, I don't know if it's just Alpine Valley's PA system, but it was very muddy. There was no clarity in it. So I don't know if that, but I think Queens of the Stone Age was the opener. Their mix sounded like shit too. So I'm assuming either the guy on the board was just terrible and put all types of mid-range in for some reason, or Alpine Valley's PA system was just garbage. I don't know. But like visually and like what we were experiencing, like it was the best. Like nothing. No, I've probably been to like 25 concerts. Like none of them have come close to that. Like I saw Velvet Revolver a couple years before that. I think that was 2005 in Detroit, actually at the Palace of Auburn Hills. And that was good. Holy fuck. It must have been in like a lull in Weiland's heroin thing, because he sounded like album perfect. Like he was right on key, like not pitchy. He was fucking killing it. And then he was just like walking around through the crowd. Like he went into the upper deck and was just like walking through, like high-fiving people and shit. And it was really cool. And like musically they were so tight, and that was the best. Again, I don't know if it's just like the mixing board man or the PA system that the Palace of Auburn Hills has, or if that's Velvet Revolver's PA system that they take with them. The best sounding live concert I have ever seen by far. Like it was so, every instrument was so clear and like beautifully separated in the mix in a live setting is very impressive. And the vocal, like everything was so balanced. Like it wasn't like some performances, the vocals are just way too loud, or if you're fucking Vince Neil, I saw Motley Crue right around the same time as well. Whatever their Carnival of Sins or some shit tour was. And it's like Vince Neil's vocals are turned down pretty low because he's fucking the words up a lot and forgetting shit. He'll just stop singing because he forgets the fucking words. But man, Rage Against the Machine was the most emotionally moving. Like it is just chills the whole time. Like I was on the verge of tears from just like pure joy. That was most emotionally moving. Like clarity, best sound quality, Velvet Revolver, The Palace of Auburn Hills. I'm really bummed that Weiland quit, became a junkie again, and went back to STP. Fuck. Velvet Revolver was awesome. Especially when you consider like Duff, Slash, and Matt have perfect chemistry. I don't understand why. How can you... So you even get that Alter Bridge man. So how is he Slash's lead singer? Fucking get the... whatever, Dave Kushner back. Matt, Duff, Slash, and Alter Bridge man. Well, yeah, that's kind of the point of the phone call. But I mean, in the future, it doesn't have to be right now. You don't if you give a shit enough to stay tuned in to future episodes, it'll probably be around Wednesdays. Not a big fan of schedules. Maybe around Wednesdays 9-ish p.m. Central. Give or take a day or two. Yeah. Damn it, there's another time where I sidetracked for a minute and forgot what I was even rambling about. I know it was something to do with probably Velvet Revolver or something. But yeah, the whole thing, I was gonna... Fuck, it's already 11? The whole point of like tonight's show was going to be... So I stumble across stories about weird shit that I find interesting. Oh, hell of a concept, huh? I'm such an innovator. But one that I heard about months and months ago and I totally forgot about, but maybe I should bring it up now. The Dyatlov Pass incident. Not after the Chernobyl guy. It's another man named Dyatlov. So this was like 1956 or 59. If anyone isn't interested in... I put the number on the screen so that you do not call. And hold on a second. I'll just watch. I'll get rid of the guitar for a second. It does not say call us. So it's like 56 or 59. Russia, heart of the Soviet Union. It's like 9 people. I think there was 9. Yeah. So they're like skilled mountaineer, climber, hiker type people, skier type stuff. And they were like they're at level 2 certification. And this was their journey to achieve the level 3 certification, which you have to go X amount, like you go out and then you come back. So it has to be X amount of miles and you're gone for X amount of days and you only can do these supplies. And at some point during your trip or whatever, you have to do this, this, and that, just so you know you can do it. Because I don't know if they're like training to be a rescue team or just like guides or some shit to get people through like mountains and stuff. So Yo,
Hello.
what's a good word?
Just that guy.
What did you say?
1 second. Got
Okay,
walk outside. You that YouTube guy?
you got it damn right I am. Who's this? Are
All
you
right.
the
This is
fake Icelandic guy?
yeah.
Nice. How's it going?
You know, been in freaking isolation for uh getting on 2 months now.
Yeah. Where are you
I'm
at?
freaking out. I'm in not to get too darn specific there, but I'm in Florida.
Oh, the taint of the United States. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I'm from West Virginia originally.
Ooh,
Uh,
the heart of racism. Like you're batting
that's
0 for 2
Kentucky
here.
there, right?
Yeah, Kentucky. Well, they were kind of secret about it. They were sort of on the fence during all that stuff. Like, we don't know if
You
we're.
know,
Go
do
ahead.
you know how West Virginia became its own state?
No, did they go to war with regular Virginia?
They did actually. What happened was the
What?
people in Richmond, that's the capital of Virginia, they said that we were going to be a slave state, we being West Virginia included. And we said we would rather kill and die than be a slave state. We're free state here. Everyone's free. So we went to war. We killed and we died so that they could be free. Now you're calling us the heart of racism.
So it's the other Virginia is the heart of racism then. I know one of the
Yeah, I'd
Virginias.
go for that. Now, West Virginia, to be fair, is where the Ku Klux Klan comes from. So maybe you weren't too far off.
Man, that's just what a sad group of people those fucking idiots are. Like, it's just
Oh, you ever seen any?
not in person, no.
I've met a few. One of my favorites. I'm a white person. I don't know if you can tell from my voice. One of my favorite things about the Ku Klux Klan is they will run around with their pot bellies and their missing teeth and talk about how they're racially superior,
Right.
running around fucking their sisters. It's a real sad group of people. I'll tell you what.
It is. I don't understand. Like, if you ever saw the Joe Rogan podcast thing, they had that damn Daryl something. He's that black
Yeah, I did see that one.
dude. I highly recommend
That was
that.
actually the first episode of the Joe Rogan podcast I watched all the way through. Typically, I'll put it on, and then he'll say something dumb, and I'll be like, "Come on, Joe, no one cares," and I'll turn
Right.
it off. That one actually, I'm not gonna lie, that episode got me thinking a lot.
It opened my
Uh,
eyes to a ton of shit. Because I mean, I'm from Wisconsin, obviously, and
Picked up by the voice.
we don't have the Klan up here. Like, the craziest shit we have is Amish people. Like, that's as extreme as it gets, and they don't do anything but make furniture.
I love Amish people. We got a bunch in not too many in West Virginia there, but there's a bunch in Ohio.
Oh yeah,
And I bought my grandmother. She bought a chair for $23 like 100 years ago, and it's sitting up in the attic right now. It's perfect.
Jesus
The
Christ.
Amish people build things to last.
Well, have you seen the prices lately? Like, I want to get a new wardrobe thing or whatever they are, and
Armoire.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, let's look at like Wayfair and shit like that, and fuck IKEA, that particle board stuff. I'm like, I want a solid wood. Don't care if it's even pine. That's fine with me as long as it's not particle board laminated bullshit. Amish stuff is like $2,000 to $3,000, man. I thought
Oh yeah, but
I thought they were known for like being. It's like a super good deal. I didn't know, like, is Amish stuff always been like, yeah, it's quality as fuck. It'll last you 200 years, but you're paying for it. Has it always been like
yeah,
that?
always. Well, see, the
Oh,
thing is, the Amish people, like building furniture and stuff. So like, I don't know about all Amish people because there's probably a fuck ton of them. I don't know if I can swear. I'm sorry.
say whatever
But
you
the
want.
people in Ohio, there would be 3 or 4 people that were woodworkers. They would make like 5 or 6 pieces of furniture a year, and that's how they fed everyone in the community.
Damn. Well, I guess it wouldn't take that. Now I think it's not that much money because they're growing their own food and stuff too. So that
Right.
would probably be for supplies. Like, I highly doubt they're making their
Nails,
own thread. You know what I mean? They're going out and buying thread.
thread,
Yeah, so
like
because
to
they make
sew with.
yeah, because they make their own clothes, so they need thread.
Well, typically they'll go. What they do is you know what a Mennonite is?
It's like some offshoot of Amish, isn't it?
Yeah, they're Amish, but they use our technology, like they use like automobiles and stuff like that.
Really? I thought they were like harder core of Amish.
No, they're softer core.
Oh,
Or I could be wrong. I'm just some guy.
I honestly
Don't put your whole life on me.
shit. I don't know either.
But from when I was kicking around Ohio, they would be Mennonites would go up to like Costco and stuff and get a bunch of fabric and like like $300-400 worth of denim, and then take that home, and then that's how they'd make their clothes. I don't know about thread. I imagine that you're right. They probably just purchase that.
Cause yeah, I know like so they're not really down here. I live 20 minutes east of Madison. You don't see them down here, but like my dad, he had his own dump truck company thing, so he's like an independent employee or some shit, and he would just like build interstates and stuff. So I'd go with him up north, like Portage, Waupun area in north. They're all over with their fucking horse and buggies, dude. It's awesome. And he's like, yeah, they make their shit, sell it to us, like white people and stuff, and then
They call it English.
they'll buggy their way in, and of course, no, that's all just like, oh, we need some rope, or oh, we need nails or something for the new barn. But
That was
that's
the big thing that I saw. Them buying nails and screws, but they didn't like screws because they thought it was that was too much technology for them. So they usually stuck with nails.
plus that would be hard as hell to. Oh my god, nailing is so much easier than screwing by hand. Oh fuck, unless you got one of those
These Amish people,
weird.
they're hard as bricks. They I fought an Amish guy once because he said I was being disrespectful to his sister, but he kept calling me Englishman, and I told him, I was like, if you keep calling me Englishman, we're gonna have problems. And he beat the fuck out of me.
Really?
These people are made out of bricks. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a tough guy, and these Amish people, they have no bend in them.
Huh.
As soon as they wake up, they're working hard every day.
Do they? They're bound to the laws of the United States, aren't they? They're not like Indian tribes.
No, they're religious extremists. They have to follow our laws. They get pulled over all the time for speeding with their little horse buggies.
What? Speeding?
Yeah. Well, yeah, in those old country roads back in Ohio, there the speed limit's 15.
No shit.
No, it's 15, and it's 15 because of the Amish people. Because people were, they were hitting folks, like a car accident where the other vehicle is a horse-drawn carriage.
Mm.
If you're going 30 and you hit a horse, it's fucked.
Oh my god, I'll tell you a story about that. So I grew up on a farm until I was about 13, and we had all types of shit, like pigs, horses. I had a goat, Elmer. It was awesome. But we had like 5 or 6 horses and hundreds of acres and huge front yards. So like nice summer days, like it was not uncommon for my sisters to be out just riding the horses around. And my sister Carrie was fucking around on one of the horses in the front yard, and we lived at the bottom of 2 big hills. And there's this like fucking piece of shit like Chevette, fucking just like loud, just like sputtering its way down the hill. And for whatever fucking reason, the horse spooked, darted in front of that car. The car hits the horse. My sister falls off the horse onto the road, like smashes her tailbone and pelvis all to hell. The horse fucking runs off. I think it came back several days later, but yeah. Horses are big, unbelievably powerful animals, but up against a car, even some piece of shit Chevette, like Escort shit box, that horse is losing every fucking time.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, because it's a horse. And they're made out of meat and bones, and cars are made out of steel and iron and rubber.
But yeah, I know how horrific car versus animal, especially if we got humans in a buggy involved. That's another thing. I spent a lot of time in not a buggy, but it was just like kind of like a buggy with no top. It's like just got 2 benches in it. You hook the horses up to it.
Those are called dog carts.
Oh.
Yeah. Or Handsoms.
Oh, okay, like the New York Hansom cab then.
Yeah.
Do those still exist? Do they still let horses just shit all over the place and New York City?
Yes, they do actually. You can for $25, you can take your lady around Central Park in a horse-drawn carriage.
How long does that take? Central Park looks kind of big.
We don't go around the whole park. It's about I've never been there, but my brother told me that he did that, and I don't know.
That's one thing I want to
I would
do.
imagine.
If I ever make it to Finland like I want, they do the midnight, you're pulled by reindeer in the sleigh. It
Yeah,
seems even awesomer. And then you just go out. It's like 3 or 4 hours. And if you see the Northern Lights, great. They do snowmobile tours of the same thing.
you know, have you ever left the country?
Not yet. I tried to sneak into Canada, but I was at Niagara Falls, and I didn't know you needed a passport to fucking get into Canada.
I actually snuck into Canada. I did some real legit ass illegal immigration stuff.
How?
Okay, so this was after 9/11, obviously. Well, not obviously, because I'm a young fella, but you can't tell, but I'm a young fella. This was after 9/11. I was at a concert in New Jersey, a band called the Front Bottoms. Probably never heard of them.
No.
But anyway, they're kind of shit. A friend of mine was like, hey, let's go to Canada. And I was like, well, that's a different country, and neither one of us have passports. So we went to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, like a two-day drive. And there was a town, I can't remember the name of it. You can Google Maps it, I'm sure. Where on one side of the street is America, and on the other side is Canada. And there's a big fence, and there's a border guard. And we said, hey, we're going over. And he said, okay. That was it.
What was it like trying to come back? Did they ask for your passport then?
They did. But what we did was we said, we just told the guy we were going to cross the border. We didn't know we needed a passport. These are our American IDs. Can we please come home? We're super scared, please. And they let us go.
I mean, would it really be that bad to have to stay in Canada anyway?
Yes, actually.
Why?
Well, Canada, I was only there for 14, 15 hours. It was the worst experience of my life. Maybe part of that is because I had crossed the border illegally and I was afraid I was going to be arrested. But everything's more expensive in Canada. Well, because they've got different money, obviously. But like, we went into a gas station and we tried to buy sodas with our American credit cards, and it was $15 for the charge of using the wrong kind of credit card. It was extra $15 fucking.
Holy shit!
And we thought we could drink because the age for drinking is 18 in Canada, but with your American ID, you can't drink. Guy at the bar asked for our passports. And we were like, what?
Oh,
Here are our American IDs. And he was like, no, I need to see your passport.
that's weird.
It was weird. We were super pissed. Because the whole reason we stuck into Canada was to drink. Which is dumb. It's because his dad, back in the 70s, used to go to Canada all the time to drink. But that was the 70s. It was before 9/11. You could just walk across.
And now they changed it to where if you have a DUI, you can't go to Canada.
Well, that's fair.
Not really. Like, several of my friends do a Canadian fishing trip every year. It's like a tour type thing where you pay the guy and he just takes you on his boat, and it's not a bunch of people. It's just you and the guy. So it's kind of like a private tour type thing. But he had to skip it 2019 because he got a DUI in like January 2019 or some shit like that. And you can apply for an exemption if you're like, well, no, I'm not going to be driving around or anything. I'm just doing this vacation tour thing. And then if they decide, okay, you get to go. And your odds of them saying okay get better as time goes on. I think it's like going to be a no within the first 3 years guaranteed. But then after that,
I mean, there's only like 12 million Canadians, right?
like 20 or
And
something
so,
like that.
Let's say there's 20 million Canadians. If I was Justin Trudeau, and they said, 15 last year, 15 Americans came, and they drove drunk. They drove drunk. I was like, well, hey, fucking check the passports, eh? Don't let any drunks over here, eh? That's what I do.
But me, without a DUI, I can easily drink and drive in Canada. Like, nothing is stopping me.
Except for, your morals, because you wouldn't do that because you're a good person.
But I'm not. I'm a terrible person.
Oh, well then,
But I could get into Canada just fine.
right, it's because you're not going to, well, I'm assuming you don't have a DUI.
No, I don't. Never been to jail
Well, then,
or
yeah.
prison or anything.
I've been to prison. It's not that big a deal.
I just don't like being told what to do. So it'd be like the military. We're like, wake up now, eat now, lights are shut off now.
Well, it's different because in the military, they tell you to do all those things to instill discipline. But in prison, they tell you to do all those things because you have proven that you cannot take care of yourself. So they have to take care of you. That's what prison is.
Well, that's a weird way to take care of someone. It seems like torture almost.
Well, yeah, but, you remember being a teenager. That felt like torture. But they were just looking after you, your parents.
Yeah,
I bet. Hope.
I could still run away. Hard to run away from prison. Plus the whole
It's not that
cage
hard.
thing. Fuck the whole cage
Well-
thing. That would drive me nuts.
Yeah, when I went into prison, I wasn't a prisoner. I was working for a drug rehabilitation clinic. I'm from Huntington, West Virginia, which is the overdose capital of the country for heroin.
Jackpot.
Hell yeah. So I was doing recovery stuff, and I went into prison to talk to these guys about how you don't have to do drugs. There's someone outside yelling. Hope they're not yelling at me. I'm being quiet. Well, anyway,
Tell them to fuck off. It's Florida. You can just shoot them.
No, you can't.
What?
No. The thing about Florida is it's actually a really big state. You know why Florida has such a bad reputation?
Because it
It's
sucks.
we have. Well, because everywhere. No,
The whole
because when you-
dude, the whole South, like everything that touches the Gulf of Mexico, is the worst.
Well, when you go to the police station here in Florida and you say, I work at the news, give us all your arrest records, they give you all of their arrest records.
That's
But
the
if you
cool
go to
thing.
Ohio,
Yeah, that's the crazy
Right.
thing about Florida. Like you can request anything, like court-wise, public record, and they have to give it to you.
yes, and actually, when you ask for it, they file on your behalf a Freedom of Information Act, which is why you get everything. I've asked for court records. My old roommate, he said some weird shit. We were drinking. He said some weird shit. I pulled all of his information from the courthouse. Kicked him out the next day.
Well, what is it? Okay, so in Wisconsin, it's like Wisconsin courtaccess.gov or some shit. So if you have had something go through the court system, anyone on earth can see that. Is that similar to Florida?
It's well, yeah.
Because
I
like
would
that's
say
how I got that Roger Stone deposition video, because it's, I imagine, like, I don't think I could just go to the state of Wisconsin website and be like, give me all the deposition videos you have. Like, I haven't found any. But in Florida, you can get deposition videos perfectly fine.
Well, I'm pretty sure that I don't know about Wisconsin, and okay, so like in West Virginia, I know this for a fact. In West Virginia, if you want someone's court information, you have to have all their information, like their name and their birth date and their social security number, all that kind of stuff. So you have to already kind of know them. But here in Florida, I could just walk up and be like, hey, Tom Green, I need everything about Tom Green. And they'll be like, everything we got about Tom Green, here it is. Good luck, sir. God bless.
I should do that for a former class, or he's a year ahead of me in high school. So if you want to look him up, Chad Ringer, like Ruenger. He moved down to Florida, and so his uncle was like an RV dealer type shit. And when the whole economic downturn happened, like the credit
Hashtag thanks, Obama.
the credit dried up, so nobody is buying RVs. So he needed to make money. So he goes to his nephew Chad down in Florida, starts wondering, like, you're never going to work. He's got this super fucking nice place. They lived just by, what is on like the Gulf side? Tampa. They live just north of Tampa Bay. And he fucking lets his uncle in on it. Like, well, I have a fucking marijuana distribution thing where he would send people, and it would just be from California, like the Golden or the Emerald Triangle or whatever the fuck that's called, California to Wisconsin, just back and forth, like $200,000 of weed, like in cash, weed back to Wisconsin. Well, the fucking one, and this is news stories, like it's unbelievable reading that I went to fucking school with this guy. I used to ride with this guy in his car to lunch, during lunch at high school. He'd have like a fucking 357 under the seat and shit. Just like, okay, Chad's a fucking reckless renegade. Fast forward like 15 years later, he gets busted for this shit. And you're like, oh my God, Chad Ringer is doing that? So these dudes, his drug mules, got ambushed in one of the Dakotas. I think it was South Dakota. Like straight out of a fucking movie. Like a black SUV cuts them off. People with fucking machine guns get out. Like they beat the hell out of one of the people with a gun. Took all the fucking drugs, obviously. And now the people, like the drug mules, were like, okay, we're done. They spilled the fucking beans. So then the fucking dude's uncle is like, oh my God, I just stumbled into this. I don't want to go to prison. My nephew's doing all this fucking shit. Go talk to him. So Chad must have got spooked by something because he got busted in Indiana, I think, with like 30 pounds of weed, 8 pounds of hash, and like 7 fucking unregistered firearms. It's like,
yeah.
I should. He is one person because I know his residence was in Florida, so I should dig into that, get all of those fucking public records. Holy.
From the place I'm from in West Virginia. There's a lot of cartel guys rolling around.
Like what cartel?
Sinaloa.
Oh, like Mexican. Okay.
Yeah, like the only reason you know that they're cartel guys is because like Huntington, West Virginia is like super poor. Man, they're really yelling out here. She's talking about get them on the phone. I hope everything's okay. I live in a nice neighborhood. This never happens. But anyway, in West Virginia, it was a shitty neighborhood. It was like Detroit. Like if you're picturing Detroit, how shitty Detroit is, that's what West Virginia is like also. And so everyone's super poor except for some people are driving around in like $200,000 cars with $10,000 suits. Like Rolls Royce is rolling down through a freaking pothole infested city. It's weird. So I don't know because I never talked to them because I was told by my parents not to talk to people like that. And I was told at school that these are the cartel guys. And many of the people I went to high school with are dead or in prison.
Really?
Yeah, well, yeah, overdose capital of the country, dog.
Jesus
More
Christ.
people in my hometown, more people die every day of overdoses than are enrolled in high school. So we lose an entire high school worth of people every day.
So out of my class, I was the class of 98. We just had our first classmate die. It was an overdose, but he was speedballing, so he was the Chris Farley in it, which is weird. He was well off. His parents had endless amounts of money. He traveled the world as a fucking kid. Every summer he was going to Greece or Egypt or fucking France and shit like that. For whatever reason, he went into the drug route while still working, like being successful and making his own money and shit, and then just overdosed one night, like pushed it too far.
One of the things I learned working at the clinic, the rehabilitation clinic, is it's not poor people or white people or black people or rich people that do drugs. It's just sick people. It's like, it would be like if you were like, oh man, that guy was so rich and he went all over the world as a kid. How did he get cancer? It makes no sense to that he would die of cancer because he was so rich. It's a disease. It's indiscriminate. It gets a hold of you and it kills you.
It's just weird though.
Which is, it is. Plus a lot of people don't like, a lot of people, they watch movies and they think that movies, everyone knows movies aren't real, but then if you don't know about it, and you see it in a movie, you're like, that's real. And, like, have you ever seen someone get killed, like shot and die?
No.
I have, and it doesn't look like in movies. They just kind of like lean forward, and then they kind of wiggle, and then they fall down on their face. But if you put that in a movie, it would look unrealistic. So they don't do that in movies. People fly across the room or whatever.
I don't know, man. Like you can watch like Bud Dwyer shooting himself in the fucking face, and that was more disturbing than any movie like death sequence ever.
Well, yeah, but that was
Like that.
well, I didn't say it wouldn't be disturbing. I said it wouldn't be what you were looking for to see. And isn't that the news guy that shot himself in the face
No,
during the news?
he was a politician who like was literally being framed. Like he was 100% innocent, and he was going to be going to prison for decades. So he held like a press conference on live TV, tried to explain some stuff, and he's like, "Well, I'm sorry, blah blah blah." And he had a paper bag, and he pulls a gun out, and he's like, "No, get back, get back, get back!" And then and then the camera follows him. So now he's like slumped down, and it was just like fucking Niagara Falls, just like blood, like gallons of blood pouring out of his nose, like. That looked fucking real. When you see someone get shot and they're like, flailing around like a fuck. No. Or like videos of like, was a famous one, like some idiots trying to rob a gun store. And it was like a young man and an old man behind the counter, and the fucking old man just like quick draws and either shot that dude in the fucking spine or in the head, because he looked like he was punched and knocked unconscious. His legs just gave out and he was done. Like, that looks so...
I was at a party once, and a friend of mine actually told me we need to leave because across the room he saw a guy pull a gun, and he's like, "Bro, we need to get the F out of here." And I was extremely intoxicated, so I told him we don't need to go nowhere. And then dude shoots this other dude right in the fucking face like 4 times. And I looked down at him.
In the middle of a party?
Running. Yeah.
What?
And then when I say party, I don't mean like I mean like everyone's doing drugs. A farm party, pharmaceutical party.
Oh, never attended one of them.
Like, yeah, it's mostly people slumped out on couches. But anyway, yeah, dude shot a dude in the face, 4 or 5 times. Well, he didn't shoot him in the face 4 or 5 times. Shot him in the face at least once, and then stood over him and shot him a few more times. And I looked down at that, and I remember thinking, holy shit. There's way less blood than I expected. And then I saw it started to come out. It was gross. It was a whole fucking thing. And I was super high. It was a whole thing. It was gross.
What the
fuck?
That's
when I decided I wasn't doing drugs anymore. After I got sober, after I saw all that.
I can't even imagine. Like, I was never... Like, I'd never go into sketchy situations like that. Even like...
Well, yeah, I mean...
Because we just did like house parties and shit, and like, even going to a different town. Like, I don't know any of these fucking people here.
I would never go to a sketchy situation like that. But like you tell me there's going to be 5 or 6 people all doing heroin in one little building. Yeah, I'll go to that. Well, not anymore, but that used to be the kind of thing I was into. But if you told me there's going to be like 45, 50 teenagers listening to country music and sipping out of Solo cups, I would have been like, someone's going to get murdered there.
Oh, we always had
to go to my heroin thing. Everyone's gonna be fine.
Those always worked out well for us, because that was the majority of our thing. There's like a couple. Well, it was like Marty's pit. It's like this big sand pit way back in his property. Tina's parents' house, or the loft. And at one point, we had a loose stock. Like a couple dudes, like 8 years older than me, had a loose stock. So it was just Cambridge, Deerfield, Lake Mills people, like. Everyone from like little communities around Waterloo, and it was great. Like no one was fighting. Like, it was a really good time. You have like 4 bonfires going. Each bonfire had a half barrel by it. You can just stroll around like, oh, those dudes are dicks over there. I'm gonna go see about this group. Those were
that sounds. Well, first of all, that sounds extraordinarily rural.
Oh God, yeah. Where I live, you're 20 minutes away from anything. So Madison is like 20 to 30 minutes away. Then like there's no big towns close. Watertown is like 30,000 people. That's 20, 25 minutes away. So yeah, your entertainment was either someone's parents went up north and were using their house to party, or you're literally in someone's field somewhere.
You said you're in Wisconsin there?
Yeah.
I've been to Wisconsin one time, and what happened was I was in okay, so West Virginia is pretty close to Michigan. I'm sure you have seen the map before. But people used to drive from Detroit to Huntington as part of a drug smuggling caravan type of deal.
Hmm.
They called it the Silk Road. Well, one day, I went to Wisconsin, and I was supposed to go to Michigan, but I fucked up. And yeah, it was the only time I've been to Wisconsin, and the whole time I was terrified some strange man was going to murder me because I had stolen all of his. I don't know if it was drugs or money in the car, but it wasn't my car, and I was told, if you just drive this to Detroit, I'll give you $2,000 and some weed. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll drive your car to fucking Wisconsin for you. That was terrifying. Never did it again. Totally thought I was going to die.
Like you thought Detroit was in Wisconsin?
No, I was supposed to go to Detroit, but I'm an idiot. And I was like, if I use my phone for GPS, they're going to track my phone with GPS. So I'll just use a map. And I fucking ended up in Wisconsin. I was pissed.
I made it from, outside of Madison to Detroit without a map, just using interstate signs. Because the girlfriend I had at the time could not read a fucking map, and we were trying to get to a Velvet Revolver concert. So maybe I'm just I'm like Magellan, I guess.
Why? Well, that was my problem. Was all through Illinois, I wasn't using the map because I was supposed to be in Ohio, but I was in Illinois. So I was like, okay, clearly I'm not good at maps because I'm like getting ready to go to Ohio. The town I'm in West Virginia is literally the border to Ohio, and I somehow didn't make it to Ohio at all. Just from my house, I could see the bridge that takes you across the Ohio River, and I managed to not make it to Ohio. So that's when I realized that drug muling was not in my blood.
It's like my trip to Iowa. I crossed that bridge, got into Iowa, and realized the error of my ways. Like Wyoming maybe is worse, but fuck.
The worst state I've been to was California, and I was only there for 9 hours for a layover to go to my sister's wedding in Hawaii. And I was in California, and I walked outside, and I was, oh god, it was so hot and it was so dry. And a guy asked me as soon as I walked outside the airport, and it wasn't even LAX, it was just a smaller airport. I don't remember what it was called. It was so long ago. As soon as I walk outside, a guy makes eye contact with me. Says, "Can I have $20?" And I was like, "What?" And he said, "The fuck you talking to me for?" And I was like, this isn't me. This isn't meant for me to be here." So I went back in the airport.
Yeah, I have no desire to go to California, really. Maybe like up north, do like the redwood stuff, but
I was up north. I was damn near in freaking Oregon, which I thought was weird.
That part I would like to go to. I do like I'll get into it eventually at some point here with like, I'm super into geology and shit like that on a continental scale when it comes to how the glaciers melted, how fast they melted and shit like that. Like the fucking U.S. is just, the face of our country is just scarred with evidence of an ocean level amount of water flowing over our continent when the glaciers melted. So it wasn't some slow.
You can kind of see it in between Appalachia and the Rocky Mountains, like a big old tub.
Look at the fucking northwest chunk of Nebraska. Google Maps, go to the satellite view, and then look at the northwest chunk of Nebraska. It's that the whole thing is fucking ripple currents like you would see on the beach from water, or like in a river, shallow creek or whatever, you get like ripple currents from just the flow of water going over. But these are 100 feet high. They're clearly visible from space, and it is literally the entire chunk of that fucking state. So obviously there was massive amounts of water flowing over that. And where would that water come from? The glaciers. There's miles of ice. All of Canada is under ice. The whole fucking thing is under ice. And like deepest is 2 miles. There's so much water so much ice sitting right there that when it melted, ocean levels rose 300 to 400 feet. Like it's unfathomable.
You heard of Randall Carlson?
Yes, this is where this dude like informed me about it a few years ago. I saw him on a Joe Rogan podcast, and I'm like, what? And then I start looking into it myself. Dude, like just north of Wisconsin, it's Lake Nipigon in Canada. Like that could be a potential impact, like punched through the ice and hit there. So if you look in Lake Superior, there are on the east side of Lake Superior, there are huge grooves in the bottom of that lake. The only way that shit could get there is because, again, during the Ice Age, that lake wasn't there. It was just ice. And now an impactor hits from space, hits that ice just north of Lake Superior. So now you have unbelievable amounts of heat and shit. So like where it hit through, that's all hot. The ground is hot. A lot of fucking ice is going to be like melted instantly, blast out, and then fill the void. Like eventually, like that shockwave is going to come back. All that water is going to be pouring in. So now you got subglacial water underneath the glaciers, subglacial water with the weight of the glacier smashing down. And that water wants to go somewhere. So it's going to find the weakest point in the earth and exploit that. And just in the process of these glaciers melting, which I think happened in less than 20 years, the glaciers were melted. So if you look, anyone listening to this, look at fucking Lake Superior, the east side, massive fucking grooves, like in perpendicular lines from when something hit that fucking glacier, rapidly melted shitloads of water that had to go somewhere. I'm going to put a whole presentation together. Like, it is so unbelievable. Like, all over the United States, and by where you were, I think they were in Virginia. Or no, South Carolina, the Carolina Bays. Being from that area, you ever hear of those? The Carolina Bays?
The Carolina Bays?
Like,
You talking about the rock and roll group?
No. They're the geological things in the earth. Like, there's hundreds of thousands of them all over the Carolinas. These oval-shaped craters, they're all pointing in the same direction. And when you draw a line to where they all converge, it's Lansing, Michigan, I believe, like right at the mitt. So that would lead people to believe that something hit there, because if you look in the corner of the mitt of Michigan, it looks like that would be a perfect spot for an impact crater, how it's like nice and rounded like that. So
I've spent many a day in Lansing, Michigan, and I have seen no such pop marks on the ground.
No, something would have had to hit in Michigan that would have sent ejecta up into the atmosphere, and then it would have...
and then landed in South Carolina, or the Carolinas in general.
Yeah, but if you look at the map, it's not like where the city is, it's in the water. Like, whatever would have hit where the... And this is 12,000 years ago, so, you know, with the time, erosion and shit.
12,000 years ago.
That's when the glaciers melted.
No. Earth is only 4,000 years old, my guy.
Are you serious?
No, I just wanted to see if you'd hang up on me.
No, I was gonna let you run wild with that. That would have been great material. God damn it!
I do have some conspiracy theories. Just they're more normal ones.
I only hold on to one of the conspiracy, and that's the 9/11, the towers falling. Like something's not adding up.
Do you know what's crazy? Have you seen that Waco miniseries that they put together?
The what?
Waco miniseries.
Is that new?
It's not new. It's from 2018.
Ooh, I did not hear about it.
I watched it on... Yeah, I didn't hear about it either.
How old are you?
Why, but I'm 23.
Oh, man. So you were... When was that? Fucking 98?
I think Waco was 98, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like 18 years old. I remember watching that play out live on the news, and the whole thing was fucking burning, and now they're like firing like that tank battering ram thing, and they're firing shit in there, and everyone died.
Yeah.
Fuck. I didn't know.
Up.
Is it like a Netflix thing, or where is this?
It is on... It's on Netflix or Amazon Prime. I have them both, so I don't remember exactly which one I was watching it on. But I think it's on Netflix. 6-part. It's actually really good. The only thing is it's very clearly propaganda. Like, if you watch it...
For which side? The government or them?
The Branch Davidians. It's very anti-America.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they make it seem like... they call it fair and balanced. I watched the whole thing with my mom because we're stuck in isolation. And they make it seem like a bunch of peaceful, Jesus-loving people just got harassed for no reason by the government. And then the government was like, you know what? Kill them all.
Well, you know,
Burn it down.
it's because they were accumulating too much firepower, basically.
They spent $250,000 on automatic weapons illegally, and it's got the attention of the ATF. And then the ATF killed some dude's dog, and there was a gunfight, and 4 agents died, and 2 Branch Davidians died, and then a bunch of fucked up shit happened. The government, I say we, but I wasn't there. The government did a bunch of fucked up shit, and lied a bunch.
Oh yeah.
And set their house on fire, which is super. They knew.
What has it been?
That tear gas.
Has it been proven that the government started the fire? Because I thought they started the Branch Davidians started the fire.
No, so it's according to official documents, it's disputed. The government says they did it. They said the government did it. But what actually happened, if you like, I don't know, I'm not the Lord Jesus Christ, but this is just what I came to with my own thinking, is that they pumped in a bunch of flammable tear gas into a doomsday cult's headquarters and they shut the electricity off. The electricity had been off for like 23 days or something like that.
Oh, that
when they pumped in the tear gas.
Hot Texas heat.
But I think, they must have been using lanterns to get around this place, because it was a big fucking. There weren't very many windows in there because it was all home built, just putting up fucking plywood and whatnot. So I'm fairly confident that there was a bunch of lanterns, and tear gas is flammable. Tear gas catches on fire.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because what people don't know is that tear gas is actually just white phosphorus being very slowly let out in a controlled manner. And white phosphorus is flammable. It's very flammable. There have been like 25, 30 different incidents where the FBI uses tear gas and then a big old fucking fire happens. I
did not know any of that.
Well, I just watched this documentary it's not a documentary, it's propaganda. I just watched this propaganda the other day, so it's all fresh in my mind. But the thing that brought it up was you said 9/11, and I was talking to my brother, and he said, the whole country was falling apart, and he was talking about like Ruby Ridge and Waco and that other one that happened. I don't remember what that one was called. And he said the whole country's falling apart. 2 towers come down, country comes together. And I was like, oh fuck, Bush did 9/11 to prevent a civil war.
See, I don't go that far in assigning like Bush did it, or he had his contractor cousin put bombs in there. Alls I know is, okay, so I know more about physics than the average person. I'm no fucking physics scholar or anything. But
they call them physicians. Dr. Joe.
Let's take the one tower that was hit more towards the top. Because one was like, 2/3 of the way up. One was like 4/5 of the way up. So you got this little chunk of maybe 15 to 20 floors on top of this compromised area where an airplane had hit, okay? Yeah. Everything below that is structurally sound. There's nothing wrong with the structural integrity of the building below where the airplane hit. At the impact site, yes. Above the impact site, yes. So now let's look at this little chunk on top of where the impact happened. That has potential energy in it, and only a certain amount of potential energy, okay? There's not enough mass, and gravity isn't strong enough for this little chunk of building at the top to physically crush to dust the entire rest of the building below it. Laws of physics do not allow that unless there is an external force putting energy into that top part of the building as it's collapsing down, or if you eliminate the resistance underneath this top part as it comes crashing down. Those are your two options.
Which is what it looks like.
Eliminating the resistance is what it looks like, because I have looked into controlled demolitions, and even when you weaken the building to the point of where it takes X amount of charges to bring the whole fucking thing down, when things don't go according to plan, the laws of physics come into play again. And it's just like water, and it's just like electricity. It wants to follow the path of least resistance. Straight down is not the path of least resistance. That is literally the path of most resistance. Yet 3 buildings that day all followed the path of most resistance. At any point, you would not expect that weakened part of the building to be 100% uniform in its weakened state. The one side, probably the impacting side, is going to be weaker than the outside, okay? So that would just naturally make the top of that building tip off the weakest point. Because again, those 85 floors below the impact site, nothing was wrong with them. So why did they get crushed into dust? The laws of physics don't fucking allow it. God damn it. It just doesn't. I'm not that. Okay, that's as far as I go with this conspiracy. I'm not saying George Bush planted bombs and was in cahoots with the Saudis and they got these airplanes. I don't give a fuck about any of that. The only thing I care about is what my eyes are seeing and what my brain understands about how the law that governs this entire fucking universe works. Yet we're all going to pretend that on this one magical day, the laws of physics don't fucking apply to these buildings. And we're all just going to agree like, oh, yep, airplanes did it. There's no fucking way in hell a small chunk on the top of a building has enough fucking force in just the mass of it. Just its own mass does not contain enough energy to smash through the rest of the building. It just doesn't.
Well, yeah.
Fuck, dude.
No need to yell.
I get this is just ridiculous because the wool's been pulled over our eyes. You're never going to know who did what and what was put where and all of this other shit. But for fuck's sake, man, can't everyone just trust their own eyes and be like, something's wrong here? There was never that instinct in your fucking brains be like, that's bullshit. What they just said, that's not how it fucking works.
Well, most people don't actually know much about it. Like, I've noticed my own family. I'm not like a conspiracy guy, but I've noticed a trend with my family. Whenever there's clips of 9/11, they close their eyes. They literally don't watch it. Like my sister, she's never seen the planes actually touch the building.
What?
She's never seen it. She says it's too gross. She doesn't need to see that to know what happened on 9/11. When I asked her about Tower 7, and she was like, Tower, fuck off. I don't care. Why are you talking to me about this? And her husband, my brother-in-law, he joined the Marines because of 9/11, and he went, and he laid his life, well, he passed away here in the United States, but he died as a result of what happened to him during his time in Afghanistan.
That's the shittiest thing about it, man, is because I have like 6 cousins. My mom's side of the family is enormous. I have cousins that I would not recognize if they walked in right now. But like 6 of them have been in the military, and 2 uncles as well. And they were all fucking shipped off over there. And the ones that saw things that humans aren't supposed to see, they're all fucking nuts, man. They're not quote unquote normal anymore. Like, they all drink heavily. There's all like, They're fucking weird now. They're fucking weird. They act weird.
Yeah, my brother-in-law was my best friend, and he threw his life away on a highway because he couldn't cope with what he had. He was anti-tank personnel too. I don't get it. I'm not a mental health professional, but I don't understand how PTSD works because he was anti-tank, fighting people in the desert. I don't know how many tanks the Taliban could possibly have had for him to come home and die on the fucking highway. He was doing, not to get too terribly personal, but that's why I use a fake name, because I have no filter.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing heroin, and fucking he drove into someone else's vehicle, and a boat came off their rack and took his head off.
What the fuck?
And it sucks, man. And he died for no fucking reason. Which is why I started looking into 9/11, because he always told me, I asked him all the time, why did you join the Marine Corps? And he was like, because what they did to us on 9/11 can never happen again. And so when he passed away, I kind of blamed 9/11.
Yeah.
for his passing, and then I started looking into it, and I was like, my brother legitimately died for no fucking reason at all because this appears to be fake. It looks bullshit to me.
Yeah.
This looks like the Gulf of Tonkin all over
Yes.
again.
Yes. What was the other one? Like Northwoods or some shit where they were trying to do the Cuba thing? Or maybe
Oh yeah,
Northwoods was a totally different thing. There's so many of them.
Bay
It's
of
hard
Pigs. Northwood was the name of the camp where JFK said no
Well,
to the plan to fake a false flag attack.
is
Blame the
that with
Cubans.
the passenger airliner, an empty one being blown up, and then we'd say like Soviets did it or
Yeah.
some shit?
Yeah, the plan was to say it was crazy because
They're just trying to start wars, man. And we just like,
yep,
oh, okay. Hey, this is all
I guess we should go
unclassified
kill
now.
those people.
This is public knowledge. Like the government did this, and everyone will still be like, "Wow, there's no way that they're doing it now." Like, it's worse now.
The
The
thing that makes
technology is extrapolated now. The internet and connectivity. It's oh my god. I don't think the virus is fake because that seems to be the new conspiracy theory that the virus thing is just a training for martial law to see how we'll react to being like home confined and shit. I don't buy into that. Like, obviously, the virus is real. Like, I have
that seems like some schizophrenic stuff to
I
me.
have family friends that have, like, I'm not related to them, but my family's friends have family. Like, one of them has 7 family members that have died from the fucking coronavirus. Obviously, there's other health. They're old. Like,
Right.
my parents and their friends are 70 now.
Yeah.
So they're no spring chickens, but it's real.
I'm very lucky that all the old people I care about are in West Virginia right now, which is the least affected state.
Really? I wonder why that is. Like, why some
You know,
places and like Japan never did no lockdown and they're fine.
this is the reason why West Virginia is perfectly okay right now, is because there's gigantic mountains. Like my house is on the other side of a mountain from your house. There's only 2 million people in West Virginia, and everyone's spread out. Nobody fucks around with each other. No one comes in there's not a bunch of reasons to go to West Virginia, so it's not like a dude from China is gonna fly into fucking Huntington
Yeah.
or Charleston. No one, there's no reason to go to West Virginia, and when you're in West Virginia, you don't have enough money to fucking leave, so they're just too poor to get sick, which is great. I mean, I'm happy because that's where my grandmother is and my nana too. But yeah, it's because they're in the middle of fucking bluegrass, West Virginia, and they haven't seen their neighbor in 25 years. So no one's getting them sick.
That's how it was when I was growing up, though. Like we lived out in we had a neighbor directly across the road, but other than that, like you had to. It's not like it was miles. The hill was like a half mile that way, and another hill was like a half mile that way. But yeah, we never like interacted with each other. And I guess if you're used to that rural way of living, where maybe you go into like the small town you live by to get some supplies and shit, but aside from that, you're probably pretty self-sustaining before the virus, during the virus, and you will be after the virus. So
yeah, like my uncle, he lives out in the middle of fucking fuck all nowhere. He buys his groceries 2 months at a time during normal operating. Just normal. His normal life is to get 2 months worth of groceries every time he goes in, because it's a 5-hour drive
damn,
to fucking Costco.
I thought my parents was bad. They live at Hatfield. Like Black River Falls is nearby, but it's like 45 minutes if you want to go anywhere outside of like a little general store.
Yeah, I might have been being hyperbolic when I said 5 hours.
Still,
I'm willing to bet it's probably close to an hour each way.
yeah, it's probably not even 5 hours to cross the entire state.
No, it's pretty wicked small state. But there are parts you can't drive in, so we got the quiet zone there.
What do you mean?
But the quiet zone, like the radio quiet zone.
Am I missing something?
You know, it's just okay. So like, it's a big chunk of West Virginia where you can't have electronics and radios and stuff.
Says who?
Paul, you sit in front of a computer, right?
Oh, what the hell is happening right now? You can't have. There's a part of West Virginia where you can't have electronics.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna go to prison or anything, but it's like I can't remember the name of it. So if you could Google like the West Virginia National Quiet Zone or something like that, it'll pop right up. I've never been there because it's creepy as fuck. But I've heard stories about it. They have like a big telescope that listens to space.
Oh, now I thought you meant this is like a community where they don't have like on their law books, like you cannot have electronics. So you caught with a TV, you're
No,
going to
there's a
jail.
community there. People do live there, and they don't have televisions or radios. And I think they don't have cars, and they're not Amish. It'd be normal if they were Amish to not have those things. But yeah, it's like a thing.
Because of like scientific purposes, like they need us.
I think it's military, like a military satellite installation. They listen to space, is from from what I remember.
Is it just a big
Hearing about it as a
array,
kid.
like a huge array of just like big white satellite dishes?
Yeah, like from 007 where Sean Bean gets killed on that big giant satellite thing.
You mean like the thing like they have in China, that huge bowl in the ground?
Yeah.
They have
It's
one
a
of them in
similar
West
type of thing.
Virginia?
Yeah, pretty sure. That's a good place to put it. Not very many people live there.
Smack,
Heaters are nice.
just smack dab in the middle of Canada. That's
I
all
think they have one in Canada. Well, like the weather thing, people think it's, what's that place called?
Harp. That's in Alaska?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's another
Well-
conspiracy theory where fucking, yeah, dude, they can send energy into the ionosphere and it will heat it and manipulate it, but what do these people think is happening? Like hurricane forming and like steering hurricanes with HARP? What the fuck is that?
Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they think's going on.
I don't think it has
If
like
you were to microwave the ionosphere, all you would really be able to do is push stuff around. It'd be like if you took some water with a little bit of oil in it and put Dawn in it, and then it all like moved off to the side.
right. If you're putting energy into something, the something that is getting the energy put into it is gonna behave like it's gonna move or expand or like do something. So I really don't understand, especially like how focused is this beam that HARP is sending up? Is it like a blanket that just extends vertically into the air? Is it a pinpoint type thing? Because with a pinpoint thing, you ain't forming hurricanes or nothing. Like, and isn't microwaves like such low energy anyway? Like, how much energy could you possibly be putting in the ionosphere to even make it do anything? And the ionosphere is only one layer of the fucking weather cake. So unless you're fucking with the jet stream and the fucking moisture in the air and the lift caused by heating the ground to actually make a weather pattern happen. Oh, but shit, now I brought logic into it. And then that makes your whole house of cards fall apart because you're only focused on one thing, energy into the ionosphere, which equals doom.
Well, I Googled it, and it's the United States National Radio Quiet Zone. And it's about half in West Virginia, half in Virginia. Or maybe that's Kentucky down there. I don't fucking know. No, it's Kentucky down there.
How big of an area is this?
Fuck. I was just looking at the picture, and it said, but I didn't pay attention to that because I was like, surely he won't ask me how big it is. If I had to guess, I'd say like, it's like a fourth of West Virginia, so I'd say it's probably like a good 200 square miles.
Holy shit. Yeah, I'm going to have to research this once I wrap this up.
Yeah. You should look into all kinds of stuff. The only reason I called you is because you didn't answer my question I asked in chat.
What?
Which was, what's all this about? Why are you doing this?
Boredom, mostly. And forever, people have been saying, like, because I go on just epic rants in bits like personal life and shit like that. So people always say,
I'll tell
like,
you what happened, friend. I was watching your Kim Heidecker and Greg Turkington abuse Mark on Cinema at the Cinema. I was watching that video. Because just the other day, I watched the On Cinema at the Cinema Oscar special because I was so bored. that I watched the Oscar special, and then I saw that you were live, so I said, "Oh, I'll just see what this guy's all about." And I don't know, couldn't turn it off. There's a lady in the chat. She's an alcoholic for sure. She's so drunk I could tell that she's drinking through chat.
She's gone now. Oh no, yeah. That doesn't tell me when the message was left. But I see this message from her, hearing you guys lobe the, and then she retracted the next message. So Stephanie, if you're still not passed out or you're still with us, we hope you're doing okay.
You definitely lay on your side when you go to sleep tonight, okay?
Yeah. No Hendrix moments, please. Hey, Black Acura, how you doing?
Well, I mean, as I meant to literally call in and just ask you that and then bounce, but then we talked for an hour, and so now it's good luck with the YouTube thing, man.
That's the whole thing, because this is what I learned some shit. Like the previous callers, like the Jordan Adams guy, he's talk about music till you're fucking blue in the face, and it's awesome. Hey, Stephanie's still here. There you go. Thank you, Stephanie.
Actually, I don't like music.
What?
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? People ask me all the time, like, "Oh, what kind of music do you like?" And it's like, I don't listen to music.
Like my interests like shift around and stuff. Like I'll be loving a band for months or years and then just fucking forget about them for a long, long time. And then like maybe go to 80s country or fucking 90s hip hop and shit like that. But there's always some type of music, like nothing. You don't enjoy anything.
Well, no, I don't. I'm not like I'm not a robot. I like some music. But I don't listen to music. So, like when I'm in the car, it's an audiobook. I'm listening to an audiobook in the car. If I've smoked a doobie and it's time to go to bed, it's an audiobook. I used to listen to a lot of, like, there's a band out there called the Front Bottoms, and I had a personal experience with them. Their music's trash though, but they were really nice to me, so I listened to their music and I pretended like I was a huge fan of the band because they were nice people. And I don't know, I just got disillusioned on the whole like rock bands. So then I started listening to independent creators, and then I was like, man, this is trash.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything that's come out in the past like 5 years has been trash. Like, you ever heard of Billie Eilish?
Hater.
Trash.
Yeah.
And I can't find good music, so I'll find myself listening to old music, but I can't really do that for too long because, if I start listening to Metallica, I think about my dad, and then if I start thinking about my dad, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna die soon, and that's not good.
Not soon. You're only in your 20s.
No. My dad passed away when he was 27.
Of what?
My brother passed away when he was 29. My other brother passed away when he was 30.
What?
Yeah. Overdose capital of the world, my guy.
Oh, well, that doesn't mean that you have to do that.
Every man that has been in my life has not made it to 31. Jesus outlived everyone in my family.
But that's not a predetermination to your path through life.
Well, no, it's not. But
it's a 100% choice. Like if you're all bummed out, you're 30 years old, and you're like, this is the end of the line, and you overdose, then duh, you just did it to yourself. But there's no reason you have to do it.
It's just, I don't want to be older than my dad was when he died.
Why?
I don't want to be 28. Because that was my dad.
So?
How old's your dad?
70.
Well, see, maybe had your dad died when you were a child, you'd understand why I feel weird about it.
But I wouldn't want to die. Like if my dad died when he was 32, I wouldn't want to die before I was 32.
I don't want to die. I never said that. It's just, think about it for a second. Did you have a good relationship with your dad?
No.
Or do you? No? Okay, well, imagine he was the coolest person you'd ever met, and then he died, right? And now picture you have to be the coolest person your son's ever met, but you never saw what a dad's supposed to do. And I'm just having a bunch of anxiety about it. I'm not looking forward to being older than my dad was when he died.
Well, even having a dad like my whole life, I didn't get shit from it. He was mean as hell, drank a lot. Like there was no loving relationship. So I mean, just because my dad lived, I didn't get anything out of it. I didn't gain anything that you don't have. There was
Really?
my entire childhood was wishing my dad would die. Like if I woke up the next day and my dad was dead, it would be the best day of my life. Literally.
What did he rape you or something?
No, he just beat the shit out of me all the time for no because he'd drink.
Well, yeah, I mean, my dad. You think happy people overdose? My dad wasn't the nicest person in the whole world. Shithead dad, better than dead dad, in my opinion.
I disagree.
Having
I
had
went through
both.
hell, man. I went through fucking hell. I would love to not have suffered those beatings 100%. If it meant like if I didn't have to get beat all the time, that my dad was dead, there would be no hesitation. Like, kill him. If we could rewind time
Well,
and now you have the
what are you
choice.
afraid of?
Huh?
What are you afraid of, man? You think I haven't been beaten up?
It doesn't mean I'm afraid of anything. I did not want to live through getting beat regularly by my dad is the fucking,
Why didn't you kill him?
huh?
Why didn't you do anything about it? Why didn't you kill him?
Kill him?
Yeah.
I have no interest in killing anyone.
All right. I didn't say you wanted to kill him. I asked why you didn't.
I wished he was dead. Like, we would go
Right.
hunting. I had loaded guns walking alongside of this man at any moment. We're in the middle of the fucking woods in northern Wisconsin. Nobody would find him. The thought never crossed my mind to kill him. I'm not a murderer. That's insane.
Well, I didn't.
Unless you were, like, in the act of trying to kill me. Yeah, okay. That's a totally different story. But somebody beats
Wait,
you
he
up.
beat
I'm
you,
not
but
just
you
going
didn't
to...
think you were gonna die?
There's a difference between being punched numerous times and like actually thinking you're about to be killed.
Yeah.
So I had like he was never like choking me unconscious. Like it was someone comes up and just starts punching you. Your first instinct is like, oh my God, they're gonna kill me. It's like you're gonna get beat up and then you're gonna go back to life. So there was never a fear of dying. So I'd never had this need to. My gun was in my bedroom the whole time, like since from 12 on. I don't want to kill anyone. There's no, again, like if you were to, someone kicks my door down right now and I'm like, what the fuck? All right. Totally different story. I don't know what your intentions are. I hope I never have to fucking kill anyone. It sounds awful. And we just talked about the people that, we talk about the people that come back from fighting wars and shit. What do you think scrambles their mind? Like killing people fucks people up.
No, I don't necessarily agree with you that it's the act of killing that fucks them up. I think it's the act.
I don't know, man.
Specifically with soldiers, I believe it is the fact that they are told from the beginning of basic training to the end of basic training, we're training you to kill people, and then as soon as you get deployed, it's kill as few people as possible. It's a very stressful situation. It's separate from killing people, in my experience, having never been to war, but having gone to a very serious physical encounter where I was very confident that one of us was going to die, and it was going to be him. But he's okay. He's fine.
There was a point we were fucking around outside of my friend's house one night. He had some girls over, so we'd fucking tap on the window and then run off and hide in the trees and shit. And
wait, but my point, I'm sorry to interrupt, but my point about why didn't you kill your dad was because you know that shitty dad is better than dead dad.
That's not, I mean, maybe that is a part of it, but for me, like what I know is going on in my head because I live with it. There was never like ending this is as easy as killing him, but I don't want to kill him because having a shitty dad is better than no dad. Like that thought never crossed my mind. It's just like, I hope while he's at work he gets killed, or I hope he dies in his sleep. And so I never have to hear the door open again and just have those feelings go through me of like, God damn it. It's only a matter of time before my bedroom door opens and now I'm just going to get punched for no reason.
I mean, I went through a very similar thing, except for and then he died. And I can tell you from experience that at least some people, myself included, will have looked back at the times when their dad walked into their room and randomly started wailing on them as the good times, and when dad is dead in the ground as the bad times.
I can see that.
It wasn't like he was always doing that.
Oh, for sure. Like, I have great memories of times with my dad.
Right, which is why shitty dad is better than dead dad, because I have no memories of him because he is fucking dead. I can't call him and ask him, hey, how come you beat the fuck out of me for no reason? But what's that about? I can't talk to him about that because he's gone. You can call your dad and ask him, why are you such a piece of shit when I was growing up? And he'll be like, oh, son, I was drinking and stressed and I'm sorry. I don't get that. I never get to have that.
I don't even have like the emotions to even ask. To me, it's just like from the time I was a child, there's been no relationship. Like sometimes I would just have to spend the day with him. Like my parents never divorced or anything, but like the times we did spend together, like we'd always go to like county fairs or like farm power shows. The World Dairy Expo was in Madison, so we'd go to that shit and stuff, which I liked. Not because I was hanging out with him, but I got to see pigs and calves and pet stuff. And the farm power shows, there's all this steam-powered machinery with big flywheels and belts. And as a kid, it was just fascinating. But yeah, the dude that drove me there, it sucked. It actually, him being there made it worse. It's like, oh, I'm stuck with this fucking dickhead all day.
Right. That does sound way worse than, oh, my dad's dead.
But yeah, I'll never know what the other side of the coin feels like because he didn't die.
Well, you will. He'll pass. I mean, I'm not being like morbid or crazy or anything.
Well, I obviously know that. Like, he's failing as we speak. He was almost killed in an accident like 3 years ago. This semi-load of lumber fell on him, but he's a giant. So it's like his skull fracture, ear torn off, his legs were shattered, his fucking... the blood, when his ear got ripped off, it fucked with the nerve. So now he constantly hears his heart beating in his ear. His vision's all fucked up. Like it's constant double vision. So that didn't help.
That sounds really terrible.
But you're right.
That
like
sounds pretty fucked up.
Well, that it was in that moment where like he told me he loved me for the first time. After it was
my dad never said that to me ever.
And if mine
maybe had he been smushed up, he would have said it. That would have been nice. Would have been nice to know, you know?
Well, it just sucks that some people, it takes, I imagine, like, had he not died, he would have said it. Like, had it been a near-death experience like my dad, it would have snapped some sense into him. Even with my dad, momentarily, it was like a 10-minute phone call while he was in the hospital. Like, I love you too, Dad. And then we both started crying, and then he gave the phone to my mom.
Well, yeah.
But that was it. It took 67 of his years, like 37 for me, to even acknowledge that, like, oh, so like, I guess my dad does care about me. So it's just weird, man. I don't understand why, especially dads are like that. The fuck you having kids for if you don't even give a shit about them? Like, I never felt like my dad even wanted me around. It was just a burden. Unless there was like something that needed to be done, like farm wise.
Were you one of those kinds of like, were you like a shithead teenager? Because I was a little boy.
Rebellious because of the way I was being treated. I hated my home life. So when I was like out with my friends, dude, like I did all my law breaking before I was 16. Like we stole a truck and shit like that. Totaled it. Fucking just doing whatever, stealing shit all the time. God, we cleaned out.
Sounds pretty shitty.
Cleaned out. I wanted to feel in control of something because I had no control at home. I had a dog. It was my best friend Joey through this whole time. It was awesome having him because he would dogs, they show affection when you're sad, and be like 13 years old just crying because I hated life. But I had Joey there, always wagging his tail, licking my face. Like, it helped a lot.
Yeah, the dog too. I never understood the whole I had a shitty childhood, so that's why I committed crimes thing. I heard, I used to work at a rehab. I heard that constantly.
I'm not using that
Like
into adulthood, because once I figured out what repercussions were, it's like, oh, nope,
no, I mean,
I'm not going anywhere with this person that's telling me I'm in trouble. So it's like, I should probably
Dale is
stop.
pretty good at that, knocking folks out of it.
I just had to see like the disappointment in my mom's eyes when I admitted, like, yeah, cops are going to be coming because we got caught, and here's why.
Yeah, I remember the first time. One time, I was doing drugs, the same drugs that my dad died doing, and the police made me tell my mom what I was doing because they thought, oh, you know what, we're gonna make him tell his mom, and then he'll never do it again, and it did not work.
I wasn't addicted to crime, though. Like, were you addicted to the drug at the time?
Well, no, I was sort of. I was, troubled kid growing up. I was just addicted to not feeling the way I was feeling. Anything I could do to feel differently is what I would do.
Mine was like, I like smoking pot and stuff, and drinking was fun when I was younger, but I was more into like adrenaline rush stuff, like stealing.
Oh, yeah. Nah. Growing up in the hills of West Virginia.
Plus, I wanted stuff.
Really...
So, like, video games, like, we would just go to Best Buy in the winter with the big starter jackets and slip one arm out of the sleeve so it looks like both arms are still in the sleeve, and grab a game, kneel down so it looks like you're looking at another game on the bottom shelf. Meanwhile, you got maybe 2 games that you're shuffling between, and one of them happens to slip up under your jacket with your waiting arm at your waistband. Slide it right on down between your belt. Sorry, Best Buy. Donkey Kong 64 was awesome, though.
FIFA never made any sense to me. I saw a sign once in the middle of nowhere in Kentucky. I've been walking for like a day and a half out in the middle of nowhere out in Kentucky, and I saw a sign that said, "Thieves hang here," and there was a rope hanging out of the tree. And I was like, "Fuck! If I get caught stealing, man, I might get killed." Something my brother told me is never steal from someone's house, because what's worth $5 to you might be worth your life to them.
Yeah.
And, then he got fucking murdered, so. But he wasn't stealing shit.
I only stole from companies. Most of those employees don't give a shit
Kyle
enough.
Best Buy, the CEO of Best Buy, might come to your house and put things in your anus. So you gonna fucking steal from me? This is what it feels like when you steal from me.
It's like it's 1950s Vegas, except they come to your house. Best Buy man comes to your house.
Yeah.
Fucking fingers are in a vice.
The CEO of Best Buy, and I saw a couple of Wisconsin shitheads stealing video games from me, I would send Doug and Douglas to their house, and I would say, "Bring me back their keys."
Oh my God, they would not come out alive. We had so many fucking guns, and like, just give me. We've been sued by our neighbors because their stupid guinea hen birds would always get into our yard and rip up plants and shit, so we'd shoot them. It's fucking right in front of them, just blowing their birds away in our front yard. One time
wow, you sound like a terrible person. Okay. You sound like a truly awful individual.
Keep your birds fucking caged up. I'm an awful person. Fucking junkie heroin addict fucking calling me an awful person. Good job, dude. So, apparently you're allowed to not be higher and mightier than junkies. So I learned a couple things from that guy. That was pretty cool. But yeah, no joke. These dickheads birds would come into our fucking yard, shit all over the place. Told them numerous times, keep your fucking birds out of our yard. They didn't listen, so they did. Then they acted all surprised, like, how dare you kill our birds? Well, we fucking told you. How would you like it if we just released all of our fucking cows into your cornfield? Just be like, oops. So yeah, good luck dying before you're 30, Florida man. Oh God, it's the whole shitstorm that guy's dealing with. Oh, it's midnight. Oh, I missed the Goodies headache powder power hour. Oh well, they don't pay me enough to give a shit anyway. But yeah, next week I'll get into that story I was starting to tell about the Dyatlov Pass incident. Those crazy Russians. That is a bizarre thing. So, yeah. Until next week, maybe I'll pop in with another one. Who knows? It's hard to tell. If I'm bored, I'll just jump in for the fuck of it. But until then, good night.